Hello, hello. So today we have a lot to go through. I actually made a list for myself. I gotta go check it real quick. I made a list for myself of what I wanted to do and or check. So let me double check that really quick. Read YouTube comments, read Japanese Twitter, read Reddit analysis, read your Twitter post. Read your own Twitter post. That's funny. I won't like get too deep into the comments for last video. I'll just make these really brief. I'll do this first because I think this is easier. Seems like avoiding the talk of of the possibility of Chizuru might start a romantic relationship with Umi, which is out of her character build that will eventually turn romantic. No, that doesn't make any sense. I'm calling it now. Kazuya is going to take on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to get in shape for the summer. We're going to reenact the cab driver's story. No, the point of the cab driver's story was that it's not accurate. The point of the cab driver's story is that it seems like this is how it would play out, but it actually makes no fucking sense because literally the visuals contrast what he's saying. The cab driver story is literally not real. The only thing it's meant to bait you into is this idea that like, hey, look, this is what it'll look like. But then even then, there's like things about it that just don't make sense. Like it just doesn't add up. It's just there are similarities to it, right? That's the whole point. It's supposed to lean into the idea of infidelity. So no, that's not it. Hey Johan, just so you know that in Japan, you don't hug a person who is not dating or very close like family. See, I'm thinking of taking that back, honestly. Mostly because I feel like the issue of infidelity is actually more so with Kazuya himself rather than with Chizuru, because Kazuya is the one who interacts with the female cast a lot, right? Kazuya is the one who's like literally Ruka is like all over him, and he sets no fucking boundaries. And then now he's doing it with Minnie too, where Minnie's literally all over him. So that gives me the assumption that I don't think anything like that's gonna happen with Chizuru and Umi. That doesn't feel quite right? It doesn't feel right. And again, we still have no idea what Reiji means when he says, you know, something big is gonna happen, but it's also not big, right? So you don't really know what it is, and the way he frames it is that it's something that can be resolved. It's something that will be taken care of in some way, shape, or form, right? So it's not something you can't take back. It's not something you can't resolve. So this gives me the impression it's not anything kind of weird, right? But it is something that will make some readers upset. So it gives me the inclination that like maybe Chizuru's trying to start. She's trying to do something with Umi that she thinks he can help her with, which is kind of the inclination that I'm kind of been leaning towards, right? Like she turns to Umi to like help her. My conclusion that I came to that I think might be what's happening is that Chizuru is trying to express her what is it? Chizuru is trying to express her feelings to Kazuya through the play, which actually makes a lot of sense because if you go back to Chizuru's birthday, what does Chizuru do on her birthday? Chizuru literally, what is it? Literally, she invites Kazuya to the play. He goes to the play, and she wants to hear what he thinks of the play. What she doesn't realize is that her mistake isn't the play itself. That her mistake is the phrasing of her questions and how she's approaching it. So literally, what we were saying last stream was that Kazuya needs to work on his internal while he's trying to focus on his external. Chizuru is the reverse, I think, right? Chizuru is maybe trying to focus on her internal. In reality, she needs to work on her external and how she handles external forces, right? Because Kazuya, if he accepts his internal, he can handle external forces no problem, right? The only reason he reacts to external forces is because of his internal. Chizuru is the opposite. Chizuru is actually kind of the reverse. She literally constantly doesn't know how to deal with her external when it comes to specifically her own like like Kazuya stuff, right? When it comes to like Kazuya stuff, she doesn't know how to handle the external very well. So that's why I think Chizuru is gonna maybe try to. She's gonna go down basically her own wrong path in her own way. And it may lean into the idea that Chizuru is like focusing more on career, right? And she's gonna get closer to the guy at work, right? Literally like that whole thing. But I don't think it's gonna be like. Considering how Reiji frames it, it just feels like Chizuru maybe starting a relationship with Umi in that she's trying to get Umi to help her with the play or something. I don't know, right? So I think that's maybe what it is, right? It's like it's contradict. That's why it's meant to contradict. This chapter that we read today, or yesterday, sorry, this chapter that came out yesterday, I think it's meant to lean into the idea of like, oh, good, something good's happening, something is good, oh my God, look forward to this, and then you get to the next chapter, and suddenly Chizuru is like starting a relationship with Umi, right? And in that sense, you're like, oh no, but I think Chizuru would never hug Umi in retrospect, thinking about it for a second, because that kind of stuff bothers her with Kazuya. Kazuya is the one who doesn't consider how that stuff bothers her, right? Kazuya is the one who does not consider how that shit bothers her. So I don't think Chizuru would ever do that. I actually think that's kind of out of character. Now that I've taken time to like process and think about it, I don't think Chizuru would ever really hug Umi or do anything like that, right? She wants to work on her internal when she needs to work on her external. And I think that is going to be the interesting thing of how Reiji is going to tackle this, right? Specifically because of how Chizuru needs to communicate to Kazuya certain things like mommy, right? Certain things like mommy, I think, is going to be really important because mommy is actually a byproduct of Chizuru's own choices with Kazuya, whereas Umi is in some ways a byproduct of Kazuya's own choices with Chizuru, right? The only reason Kazuya is interacting with mommy normally like he is because he doesn't know what she fucking did. Like I think when you go to Reddit, it's fascinating. Like when we go to Reddit, it'll be really interesting. It's so fascinating going to Reddit and people are saying, oh, like maybe mommy will be support, maybe mommy will be this. No, mommy hides something significantly more sinister. Mommy hides something significantly more sinister, which is that mommy has not actually addressed any of the bad shit she did. And mommy has done some very heinous shit. Whereas Umi is meant to seemingly just represent Kazuya's insecurity and inability to confront conflict, to deal with conflict. And basically, Umi presents that challenge directly to Kazuya. That's what Umi represents to Kazuya. Umi represents to Kazuya basically his own hypocrisy in a sense, right? Where he doesn't want Chizuru to be with other men, and he never considers how his own actions would bother Chizuru when he's with other women and he talks to other women and shit like that. Then you go to mommy. Mommy is a physical representation of kind of Chizuru's own choices because Chizuru does not tell Kazuya what mommy fucking did. Because she's trying to protect him. She's trying to protect his innocence, right? And that is gonna just, I think when she sees him with mommy, it's just gonna, Chizuru might fucking lose it, right? I think that's gonna be kind of important, right? That like, mommy is trying to change, but mommy has done some very heinous shit, and Kazuya does not know. And Chizuru will be like, holy shit, she's gonna fucking use him. She's a terrible person. In contrast, I could see Kazuya being upset at Chizuru for her infidelity. Because, right, she's seemingly serious and she says she won't have a boyfriend, right? But then she's with Umi. What the hell? What the hell? Right? I think that's what Reiji's kind of leaning into. And it feels like something that may need some time depending on how Reiji does it, but I would really like it if Reiji can like reach this conflict by chapter 400. I'd really, really like it if Reiji could reach that conflict within chapter 400. Make time move a little faster. Don't let this stuff simmer. And interestingly, going back to the here, let me show. Interestingly, going back to the practice date, we almost got foreshadowing of this in the practice state, weirdly enough. Where is it? we technically got foreshadowing of this in the practice state. Like right here. Right? This is pretty much foreshadowing of this in the actual practice state. It was literally there. Right? The practice state actually had a lot of fucking foreshadowing about this stuff and like how things may play out. Right? And then right after, it's just Kazuya and Mami, right? What if now you have like Kazuya and Chizuru like getting into a fight and then, Mami and Umi kind of just fuck off a little bit, right? I would really like it if this is something that is resolved in a different way. I want this to be resolved quicker because basically I think Chizuru is doing her own mistake, but through the play. And this is where I kind of want to highlight something interesting about 390, going back to it. There's some subtle details that I think people did not notice about 390 and why it played out like it did. So the play Chizuru got was real. And actually, before anything, something really cool I want to point out. This is literally actress Chizuru. And interestingly, the very first time you hear about Chizuru being an actress, it's actually drawn literally like this. It's so cool. Let me find it. Oh, oops, wrong one. The very first time you hear about actress Chizuru, literally the light is behind her and she is in shadow, just as Umi is in shadow. They're both actors. What is happening here? The light is literally behind Chizuru and she is in shadows, right? She is an actress. And she will express her love through her acting. Right? So, let's talk about this scene really quick. I think I found some new untapped knowledge. Okay. Minnie walks in. What are you doing, Chizuru's son? Right? Don't tell me you don't know what I mean. You haven't messaged Master at all. Okay. That's a fair thing, but I don't even care that you hid it from me, but don't you have any idea what you're putting Master through right now? I think Verkez pointed this out, and I've pointed this out too. When Minnie says, do you have any idea what you're putting Master through right now? It gives Chizuru the impression that she has not actually answered his feelings, that he's still waiting. That's what this gives Chizuru the impression. Basically, Minnie, you think it's about the text, but it actually warps away from the text, right? Because what does Minnie keep doing? She keeps talking. And basically, this is a byproduct of Kazuya's own actions, I would argue. Like what Minnie does here, it's a byproduct of Kazuya's own actions. So Kazuya essentially used D-mail and created this situation. But let's hold off a sec. I wouldn't say this in front of Master because I have faith as well. You see Sumi when she refers to faith, right? Sumi literally tells Chizuru on her birthday, I have faith in you. Okay, right? Whatever you come to, I trust you. You're an amazing person, all that. And notice how Sumi's eyes are closed, right? It's kind of like, faith is represented in your eyes being closed because you can't see it. And that's the whole point, right? In contrast, you have Minnie's eyes, which are literally open. These shots, I believe, are actually from Chizuru's POV. These are literally in Chizuru's head. These are Chizuru's POV. They're not actually happening. And the reason I think this is because right here, we see Kazuya working, and literally, next chapter, literally just a few minutes after this, Kazuya is at home in bed. So this tells me these are Chizuru's own thoughts. These are Chizuru's own perspective, right? So when she says someone having faith, she sees Sumi, right? Then you see, but to have him come this far and still make him wait is something only a cruel woman would do. Who do you see? We see Mami, because Mami to Chizuru is a cruel woman who would make Kazuya wait and does not care about him, right? That's how Chizuru perceives Mami. Chizuru fucking hates Mami, right? Then you go here. He believed in you with every fiber in his being. He believes in you in every fiber of his being even now, and he's taking everything you've said to heart. He has faith that one day he'll be rewarded. Again, she's talking like Chizuru has not actually reached the point of conveying love to Kazuya. That she has not given him love, right? As if the kiss is not love. Do you see what's happening, right? Because of this, Chizuru creates her own misunderstanding, but the misunderstanding represents her own will that she can achieve this. Let's keep going. Do you really not care if someone snatches him away from you? You see Ruka, right? Everything Minnie just said really gets to her, right? First you think of Sumi's faith, then you think of what is it? You think that she's a cruel woman. She doesn't want to be anything like mommy. Then she sees Kazuya waiting, right? He's just literally standing there waiting for her. Then you see Ruka, literally the thing Chizuru's afraid of. She doesn't want someone to take him away. Chizuru doesn't want to fucking lose him. And then she says, I don't know what kind of guy you like, but I don't think you'll ever find someone who loves you as much as he does. Chizuru fucking knows this. Kazuya said this. All of this gets to Chizuru. So what does Chizuru do? Chizuru sets the July 11th date. By this point, I will be able to convey to Kazuya and show him how much I love him and be able to give him love. Right? Chizuru basically, in her own way, thinks through the play, she can if she gauges enough of a reaction out of him, that he will feel that she has reached him, and then she can give him something. This is shown through her birthday. Literally, in Chizuru's birthday, when she asks him about the play, she wants to know that she was like kind of the center of his attention, that she was the main role in his life, while she was literally a side role in the play. And the way she frames it is the issue, not her actual performance. Her actual performance is not the issue, it's the way she frames the question. And that's what I mean about it being external factors. Okay, so she says July 11th. Notice how her eyes are hidden here. Minnie's like, a month and a half from now, there's a big play. It's a play from a director I've always wanted to act for. I received an urgent call yesterday asking me to step in as a replacement for a pretty good role. Right? Chizuru is literally just a replacement. She's not a main role. She's not a leading role. So she's going to find a way to make this her leading role. It's literally a parallel to Rental. It's a direct parallel to Rental, because what is Rental? You're not the real thing. You're merely support. You're just a side role. You're just a replaceable role that someone else could take. Literally what happened to Chizuru with this role here, right? Rehearsal starts this weekend, and I would like to have all my focus on it. Why does Chizuru want to focus on it? Because she wants to nail this role so fucking well that she shows him how much she loves him, or she shows him like how hard she tried. It's hard to explain because it's literally supposed to be a parallel to her grandparents, right? Or she showed them she's an amazing actress on the big up there, right? On the big screen or whatever, right? She literally wants to show him just like she showed that. I know I'm not articulating it super well, but I kind of feel like that's what it is, right? She literally wants to show him that, right? She wants to show him herself on the big stage, right? Being super successful and like she wants him to see and feel how much she cares and love him. She wants to convey her love through her acting. That's pretty much what it is. She wants to convey her love through her acting because clearly the kiss was not enough. I know I'm phrasing it weird, and I think it's because it is a little weird, right? This it's a misconception, right? Because Chizuru is trying to convey her internal. She doesn't know how to express herself, but with her acting, she can, right? Chizuru struggles to express herself. She struggles to express her emotions. That's why when she kisses Kazuya, it's her trying to say, I love you, but she doesn't really know how to say it. So she does it through a kiss, right? The kiss expresses her feelings, but she doesn't know how to clearly say it. So it's literally Chizuru trying to express her feelings through her acting. And this is where the interesting part comes in. She says, I've decided that I won't have a boyfriend until I'm done with it. I think there's a hidden meaning in that, because if she doesn't have a boyfriend, he shouldn't have a girlfriend. That's why this line exists. She won't have a boyfriend up until this point, not because she's telling Kazuya to wait. She's saying, don't get a girlfriend until I can show you. Don't get a girlfriend until I can express my feelings to you. Right? Because she, what does Winnie do? She mentions Ruka. She mentions someone else taking him. Chizuru literally sees other women. That's why I think Chizuru says what she says here. That's why this happens. She's literally trying to convey it. Literally, this is Chizuru struggling to convey herself. What Chizuru actually needs to work on is how to literally just fucking convey her feelings. She doesn't know how to express herself. She doesn't know how to actually fucking say what she feels, right? Kazuya, on the other hand, needs to work on his internal because his internal struggles are stopping him from making proper external choices. Right? They're literally the opposite. They're literally flipped. Didn't she do that during the date? What? Didn't she do what during the date? What? Well, actually, there is stuff about the date we can talk about. In particular, Chizuru fucks up a lot during the date while trying to do good. What I mean by this is that yeah, exactly. No, she is conveying her love in the date. But Kazuya is kind of not understanding. And a part of it is on her, and a part of it is on him. You don't need to speak in riddles. It just confuses people, hence why we are here. Chizuru, no, it's not speaking in riddles. Like this, like what the way I describe it makes it sound like she's speaking in riddles. But Chizuru literally does not know how to convey her feelings because to her, it feels like more than just love. To Chizuru, her feelings feel like they're more than just love. It's literally here. Let's hold off for a sec. Here, it's literally. It's literally what Kazuya says here. I adore her, right? He says it's not enough. Love doesn't describe it. It's not enough. And it's not just that. When she wants to express her feelings to him, she wants him to feel like she gave him something. Chizuru wants to give. So that's why she's doing it through acting. She wants to give him something. She wants to give him an experience. She wants to evoke an emotion out of him, right? She thought the kiss did that. She thought the kiss evoked an emotion out of him. But the way Kazuya acts, it's like she didn't, right? It's like the kiss didn't reach him. It didn't evoke an emotion out of him, right? And if she didn't evoke an emotion out of him, then she didn't give him something. Do you see the problem, right? Because Kazuya doesn't text her and he doesn't say anything to her. She's like, okay, I didn't give him enough. So she wants to give him an experience through her acting, and her acting is an expression of her love. Right? She literally wants to show her love. And you see this because, and this is kind of the issue, right? Chizuru kisses Kazuya, and she has faith he'll come back. He doesn't come back. She didn't express herself well enough, and he's left confused, right? She thinks she did enough. He's left confused. She ends up wasting an entire dinner that she made for him because Kazuya didn't understand what she meant, because she struggles to convey her feelings, right? So she wastes the dinner. She doesn't fully trust Minnie and doesn't know and struggles to convey her feelings to Minnie too. So that actually ends up sending more bad signals without meaning to. Minnie leaves and Chizuru is seemingly left alone, and she literally just lost her family all over again because she couldn't express herself. She couldn't say what she wanted. And then you go further. And what happens? Suddenly, Minnie shows up, and Kazuya is seemingly unhappy and confused. And now he's still waiting for her to find her feelings, right? And now he's in pain again, right? Do you see what happened? It's like Chizuru, her issue is how she conveys her feelings, and she literally just struggles to do that. She literally just struggles to convey her feelings, and that's perfectly represented in the date, interestingly enough, right? Chizuru says one thing, and then has to course correct, right? And that's our repeating motif with Chizuru, right? She does one thing, and she has to course correct. And when she course corrects, it gives Kazuya the impression that it's mixed signals, right? And that's Chizuru's issue. She's not certain of how to convey her feelings. You literally see this throughout the entire date, all the way to the rejection itself. Even in the rejection, she starts saying one thing, has to correct herself, and like literally she's like, nope, not like this, and then she takes it back, and then she has to correct herself again, and then she says one thing first, it's saying how much she loves him, and then afterwards she rejects him, and it leaves you fucking confused. And it's because she struggles to articulate her feelings, right? She struggles to let that out there. And then deep down, she's also hiding this deep desire that she's putting away, just like Kazuya is putting it away, right? Like she has this deep sense of desire that she feels shameful about, so she puts that away too. That's what's happening. That's Chizuru's biggest issue when it comes to the people around her and what she wants in life. She struggles to express her feelings well. So literally, it's not enough. Love doesn't describe it. It's not enough. I adore her. I think this is kind of what Chizuru feels, right? She has a very deep feeling for Kazuya, and she is struggling to express that. And she doesn't seem to be able to reach him and evoke an emotion out of him. And so she feels like she can't give him things. So Chizuru thinks she has to work on being able to, on her internal. Chizuru thinks she needs to work on her internal. Kazuya thinks he needs to work on his external, right? In reality, Kazuya must face his internal. Why? Because who's the thing he ultimately comes back to in the current chapter? What is the thing that Kazuya ultimately comes back to in the very end of this chapter? Mommy. The literal representation of his internalized trauma, right? The character who has to clearly deal with the shit she's keeping inside and refuses to fucking let out, right? Mommy's whole problem, she has all these fucking darkness underneath her, and she doesn't want to let any of it out. She doesn't want Kazuya to fucking hate her. Umi, in contrast, represents the external, right? Umi, in contrast, represents the external, right? So Chizuru goes to Umi to maybe have him help her with the internal, right? To express her internal. But Umi is kind of a fuck up at expressing himself. Like, he's actually kind of fucking bad at it, right? For an actor, he's pretty fucking bad at it, right? But I think that's why Umi is kind of the perfect thing to Chizuru to go for, because he is literally the representation of how she's fucking up. Because he's fucking up. Umi actively tries to help in the story, and he fucking sucks at it, right? Like, literally, you see him in the early parts of the story try to help, and he kind of fucking sucks at it. Like, when Chizuru has her first play, he gets her into the play, right? He gets her to the play, which is great. Wait, he helped her with the play. When she doesn't get the role, and he sees she's clearly bothered, what does Umi fucking do? Which is stupid, which is genuinely so fucking stupid. Like, and it's literally, he thinks he's doing a good thing, but he makes Chizuru feel fucking worse. Right? Chapter 52. Okay? It's literally about Chizuru's hard work. She's like very proud of herself. She put all of her fucking effort in. And then she sees this girl talking to this director. Oh, look, he made his choice. I heard she's related to some big name sponsor. Apparently they've known each other since she was a kid. That kind of feels like a little rigged. I know, right? All of her effort was fucking meaningless, right? Literally, that's kind of what's going on with Chizuru right now, right? It feels like all of her effort that she fucking put in was fucking meaningless, right? Whereas Umi is surprisingly quite successful, right? So he turns to Chizuru. He says, Chizuru, you're not coming to the party? Sorry, I'll be in touch. He leaves. He could tell something was wrong, right? Shit. She's not okay, right? Something is wrong. But Kazuya, right? Here, so let's go to the play thing. That show was freaking amazing, huh? I was really moved by your performance and acting. The whole theater was totally into it. I can't really express it well. You were cool up there. Cooler than Fonzo, okay? Right? Notice how Kazuya talks here. She really moved him, right? She really moved him here. But then during the other play on her birthday, he doesn't talk like this. And it's also partially because of how Kazuya speaks, but it's also partially how she asks the question. What people don't realize is that Chizuru is looking for something like this, how he talks here. But the way Chizuru asks the question is the problem. Right? So if we go to this scene, Chizuru says, how did you like the play? Right? She doesn't ask about herself. She asks about the play. Fonzo was just the lead girl. The girl who got the thing, she was the lead girl. Right? She's the one who got the thing. how did you like the play? She asks him about the play. You were there, weren't you, for the afternoon show? Things got messy with her birthday and all. I'm not asking for critique my performance or anything. I'm not asking for technical stuff like that. But, well, I want to know. I want to hear your thoughts, right? He starts like his usual excited self. She reacts. But listen how he says this. It's much more tame. It's much more tame. But the problem is how she asks the question. She should have just told him, I want to know what you thought of me when I was up there. But she asks it like it's not about her. Right? That's part of the problem. She asks it like it's not about her. She's literally already sidelining herself. She's literally already putting herself in a secondary role from the very nature of how she asked the question. And Kazuya doesn't express it how she hoped. So she says, thank you. That means there's still room for improvement, right? She didn't amaze him like she did here. Right? She didn't amaze him like she did here. He didn't react like she did here. Kazuya thinks it's his fault, and it is partially his fault as how he fucking said it. Right? She did a lot. Like she clearly like moved him. Minnie was fucking breaking down in tears. It was actually kind of funny. Right? But she thinks a side role is only worth its salt if it's able to prop up the main role. She wants to be a main role to him. Right? And that's what happens here. And right, then Kazuya gives her the anything I want tickets. And this small thing reaches her, right? So Kazuya is now the thing that seems to have no value, and she values him, and she takes one, right? She only takes one because she doesn't think she can take everything. She only takes one because she thinks she can't take everything, right? That's why she only takes one. Okay, so that's the point of this scene. So back to this with the whole Umi thing. When Chizuru says what she says, Kazuya's like, you and I are not the same. He fucking like gets mad at her. He's like, no, fucking don't be stupid. You're amazing. All that stuff, you know. She gets home. So let's get to the part where she gets home. She gets home, right? Why'd you go that far anyway? Stop living in your fantasy world and get back down to earth, right? How interesting, right? But Kazuya is not living in a fantasy, right? Umi calls Chizuru. This is Chizuru. Hi, Umi. Yeah, sorry, Grandma suddenly called me over. Shiori, sure, put her on. This is the girl who just got her fucking role. This is the girl who just got her goddamn role. Thank you, Chizuru, so much for today. The play went over well, so thanks to you. And my part was so much easier because you were there too. I really can't thank you enough. This did not make her happy. Yeah, I had fun. I hope we can perform together again. Me too. Looks at all of her hard work. It feels fucking meaningless. Leave no regrets. Falls apart. Umi didn't help shit. He just reminded her of how of the girl who just took her fucking place. Right? This is how Umi sucks when he tries to help. Umi sucks when he tries to help. He's kind of like Minnie in that sense, right? He's pretty similar to Minnie in that sense, where when he tries to help, he fucking sucks, right? And he creates more misunderstandings, and that's also how he does these same things with Kazuya. For example, he wants to be friends with Kazuya. He throws this big fucking party that like freaks him out and makes Umi and him feel like from completely two different worlds. So naturally, Kazuya doesn't feel like he can be his friend. Because Umi has seemingly conveyed a wide margin between them instead of just fucking talking to him, right? Umi doesn't know how to communicate well. And that's why he comes off like he does. That's why he comes off like he does. He comes off sinister and creepy and like he has an ulterior motive every time you interact with him. The dude doesn't know how to fucking convey himself. So literally, that entire scene in Tiger's Den is literally Umi, like, struggling to convey himself. And that's why, like, when he says what he says to Chizuru in chapter 288, that also results in a misunderstanding with Kazuya, which may result in a conflict. That's where Umi does succeed, though. Umi creates conflict. Umi causes problems which create conflict, which ultimately result in something that needs to be addressed, right? Umi makes things worse. And in making things worse, there's something to resolve. He introduces conflict into the situation. But when he doesn't try to help, right? Actually, no, that's actually exactly it, right? If we go back to chapter 31, what is he? So, okay, yeah, of course, right after this, Kazuya texts Chizuru, and he reaches her. Yeah, that good stuff. In chapter 31, when Kazuya, right, runs in, Umi's presence alone, right, literally just, actually, even before this, right, you see it right here. You see it right here. How Umi communicates right here creates a necessary conflict, pretty much. How Umi communicates right here on the phone, even though it's a misunderstanding, how he says it, right, sounds bad, right? Even though it is out of context, it sounds bad, right? And Kazuya's like this bastard. And it's literally, you're literally in how he's introduced. You're literally already told how Umi communicates gives you the wrong impression. From the moment you overhear him, how he communicates gives you the wrong impression. It sends you the wrong signals. Literally how he communicates. And then it looks like there's supposed to be some sort of kiss. Kazuya trips over. He shows up, right? Umi's a masterclass character. He's the much-needed disaster. I don't know about masterclass, but he's kind of a parallel or an inverse of Mini. So Kazuya shows up, and Kazuya says, or Umi says, someone you know, right? Chizuru says this. Kazuya starts talking. Kazuya says something. He says, by Stu, does he mean the script? He just blurts it out, the fucking idiot, right? But it causes a necessary conflict. That Chizuru does need to tell Kazuya what the fuck is going on, right? Because Chizuru's not communicating to him. Umi introduces a necessary conflict. Hey, is he talking about the script? Chizuru's like, Umi, what the fuck? Keep it a secret. No, this is something that needs to come out, and that's how Kazuya finds out she's an actress. Umi, without trying to give Kazuya the termination, Umi, when he doesn't try, actually creates, like, a good thing, right? When Umi, how do I put it? When Umi just, follows his gut, and just does what he needs to do, it results in the necessary conflicts that need to occur, right? Umi's presence introduces the necessary conflicts that need to occur. Umi is also, like, when he's helping Chizuru get the gift, he's just doing what he's doing, right? And he happens to just understand, and he gets Kazuya what he needs to get him, right? Umi's the reason Kazuya gets the phone case in the first place. And it's just because he doesn't know the situation. But when he tries to help, he makes it worse. Mini is kind of the inverse of Umi in that sense. She's kind of like a flip mirror, right? Mini tells them what to do, pushes them closer, but also causes chaos, right? Whereas Umi tries to right. Whereas Umi would Whereas Umi tries to do things and causes issues, but then those issues result in the necessary conflict. Mini causes issues that make things kind of worse, but it maybe in some ways also introduces necessary conflicts. It's just now that's not the case anymore. It's kind of hard to explain. Like initially, I thought Umi was like a unifier and Mini is a divider. I think it's like it's not that simple. I think they're both kind of like literally kind of both. They're both literally both. They're both unifiers and dividers. But Umi, every time he divides, he creates unity. This makes a fundamental contrast to Mami's character. Mami is actively trying to divide. Mami actively pushes them apart, and they bring themselves back to each other through other people and through each other, right? Mami actively actually pushes them apart. Umi divides, but his division actually ultimately creates unity. Literally like the ocean, right? The ocean divides us. The ocean literally divides continents and all that stuff. But it is also something you can cross and get through. And there is ultimately a sense of unity in that way. Mami just fucking divides, right? She's literally like the seven seas, right? So she literally divides in that way. Umi blurts out the secret by accident when Mini pushes their feelings onto the other person. Right. But I do think Umi has done something like this in the past, specifically in the Tiger's Den. In the Tiger's Den, Umi does bother Chizuru because he's pushing her to make some sort of choice. And Chizuru does ultimately leave with Kazuya, but I think he unintentionally added pressure onto Chizuru, and Umi is partially the reason why Chizuru feels like she's so unfair. I think Umi is partially that reason, because he's telling her constantly, you're being unfair. And then that plays into Ruka, that plays into Mami, and in so doing, Umi actually kind of made things a little worse, right? Because he told her she's so unfair. But then when Sumi shows up, Sumi's like, no, you're not a bad person, right? Whatever choice you make, you're not a bad person. Chizuru just needed to fucking hear that. Umi, in pushing her to make a decision, actually made her feel worse. He does introduce a necessary conflict at times, in particular for Kazuya's character. But I think in terms of Chizuru, he's actually kind of made it worse in some ways. Whereas he's pushing her, he plays directly into her guilt, right? But I do think he's getting better. I think how Umi handled it in the Tiger's Den and how Umi handled it in Chapter 288 was a little different. I think that's the important part, is that Umi's character is also changing. He's not just remaining stagnant. He's not the same character from the early parts of the series. He's not the same character from the movie arc. He's not the same character from Chapter 179. He's constantly changing, and how he's dealing with it is improving. But he still kind of does this stuff, right? So Umi is like not like the best person to go to in terms of like learning how to deal with your external stuff. Or maybe he is. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But ultimately, Umi represents Kazuya's fear of infidelity, right? That's the thing Kazuya needs to like address, that he actually has some trust issues with Chizuru. And that's in part byproduct of his own actions. In contrast, you have Mami, who literally represents Chizuru's mistakes, which is that she needed to just fucking tell Kazuya what Mami did, right? Mami caused a lot of issues, and Chizuru just needs to fucking tell him. Okay. Shit, we went on this entire rant. We were reading YouTube comments. Was there like anything else that was worth reading? They go into this like whole talk here. Well, there isn't really much else. I fully understand the Japanese. Yeah, and like thinking about it, I do think Chizuru wouldn't really hug Umi. Now that I think about it, I don't think Chizuru would really hug Umi or anything like that. If it does happen, I could see it happening by accident. If it does happen, I could see it happening by accident. But yeah, Umi does accidentally blurt things out, whereas Minnie tries to force things, but Umi does try to force things too. It's just, every time Umi does it, they do get closer. And I think I think a big part of Chizuru's character right now is learning to maybe trust Minnie, right? I think Chizuru trusting Minnie to help her help Kazuya, or to reach Kazuya, would be kind of cool. I've also seen where Miho was a personal vendetta on Chizuru. She had thoughts of plotting out of giving Chizuru a hard time in her acting. Yeah. How that plays out, I don't know. It seems like Reiji has some idea for it. I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know how Reiji would want to handle Miho. I guess there was some foreshadowing for it, right? There was some foreshadowing for Miho. So that could come back in some way. I don't know how. It could be through Umi, right? Again, Umi causes Chizuru trouble. How fucking shocking, right? A running gag with this man. He always causes Chizuru trouble. Right? And then just like Mami always causes Kazuya trouble, right? In that sense, that's kind of like their whole thing, right? Mami constantly causes Kazuya trouble, and Umi constantly causes Chizuru trouble. How fucking ironic. If we're getting more Miho, we need more Yuki. Oh, isn't that the girl with glasses? Anyways. Okay, so that's YouTube. Let's go to Twitter. Oh, I finally hit 1,000. Damn, that only took forever. Okay, let's read what Mute had to say. Drinking something that's terrible for me. Gotta love it. Kazuya and Yuki adventures? The hell? Thoughts and impressions on satisfaction. Kazuya is always Kazuya. Honestly, there's not much to write about for Kazuya chapters. Damn, bro. You say that, but you wrote a whole lot. You say that, but you wrote a whole lot. There isn't much to write. Writes a whole thing. Page 1 through 7. Kazuya realizes it's a dream on page 7. This is due to the expression Chizuru makes, which she wouldn't in reality, but readers likely figured out is a dream on page 2. I don't think it's the expression. I think it's the I love you. I think it's the I love you so much that wakes Kazuya up. It's not the expression. I don't think it's the expression. I literally think it's the I love you so much. That's what wakes Kazuya up, because Chizuru has not said that yet, and Kazuya doesn't actually believe it yet. So that part, like, he just can't believe it. But the desire, right, when she's kissing him, that feels real because she has kissed him multiple times in the past. So that desire is very tangible for Kazuya. It's something he could literally feel. So that is not something that wakes him up, right? The desire element does not wake him up. What does wake him up is the I love you so much, because he hasn't heard that. And he doesn't fully believe it yet. A part of him does not believe it, right? I think the fact that Kazuya is always looking at Chizuru with sexual eyes is meant to depict him as a typical modern college student and to show how his scummy side. But I think it's the scene that could just as well be omitted. If you genuinely think these things could be omitted, you don't understand the point. If you genuinely see these scenes with Kazuya and his sexual desires and you think this shit should be omitted, you don't get the point. I'm sorry, you don't, because that is an important part of Kazuya's character. This is an important part of the current arc, these sexual desires that he keeps inside and he needs to express out. Just because Yamori-san said so, believing without any basis that Ken go out with Mizuhara, probably a foreshadowing of something ominous happening later, isn't it? I think it's a double red herring. Because it's the first red herring is that, oh, they're not going to go out, right? Oh, no, they're not going to go out. But Reiji's intentionally presenting that to you, knowing you'll think this. Reiji's intentionally presenting that to you, knowing you'll think this, then he'll present to you what appears to be infidelity. Only to be like, no, they actually will fucking date, you stupid jackass. That's the point. He's literally playing like 3D chess or 4D chess, right? That's what he's doing. I genuinely believe this. It's a double red herring. The red herring is a red herring. The actual red herring is a red herring, right? What he's showing us in this chapter is what will actually happen eventually, but it's also acting as a red herring. It's literally messing with you. He's actually fucking with you in like the best way possible. It's great. Right? He's literally presenting you something you're all too familiar with, right? And you know Reiji, he doesn't do this, right? You know Reiji, he doesn't just like blatantly spell this out for you, right? He doesn't do it in the normal way. Reiji is not that kind of writer. He presents you something he knows you'll be familiar with. He presents you something he knows you will be familiar with. You're going to latch on to this, and you're going to be like, oh, that's what he's cooking. But whenever Reiji's writing, you can't actually tell what he's trying to do, can you? Right? Most of you fuckers can't predict this shit. Right? When you're reading this story, most of you fuckers can't predict this shit. You're literally like, oh, this is what's happening. And then something else happens. Just like with this chapter, right? With last chapter, we left on a cliffhanger that's Umei. We get to this chapter seemingly has nothing to do with it. Why? Right? Oh my god, he baited us, how could he? And then he presents you more ominous signs. You're like, oh my god, fuck this guy. He's clearly setting us up to fall, right? He's clearly setting us up to fall. But this chapter is relevant to the cliffhanger. It is relevant to the element of desire. It is relevant to the element of them being together, right? All of that stuff is relevant, right? Things like training to looking like Kendaro or not being able to write perfect or the goal content not being specific all seem very Kazuya-like. Since it says, I can't interfere until the final day, I predict that in the future there will be a fewer direct interactions between Kazuya and Chizuru. He wants you to think this. Right? Reiji wants you to think this. He wants you to think this is going to be really slow. This is going to fucking suck. Going through this is going to be so painful. It's going to drag. This is going to be such a fucking drag. And that's not how he's going to do it. He's not going to do it like this. He wants you to think, oh my God, this is going to be such a drag. And he's not going to do it like this. This is not going to be slow. I don't, like, he's intentionally giving you this very slow feeling right after the kiss. And you're like, fuck, it's going to drag. It's going to fade. This is going to suck. It's going to be an entire fucking separation. And you're already feeling like there's a separation. It's already lasted like 10 chapters or so. You're like, this is terrible. I hate this. And then he's gonna flip it on you. I genuinely believe this. It feels like he's fucking with the readers. It feels like he's fucking with the readers from every fucking metric. It is said that having a lot of muscle mass also increases testosterone, male hormone, and boosts vitality. But it makes hair on the head more prone to falling out and thickens body hair. Having too much isn't entirely good or bad, is it? Huh. I didn't know that. Makes body hair fall out? Your head hair? I've never heard of that. While thinking that Ichu, Mutsubashi, Murabani, and Kazuya are aiming for traditional companies, why Murabani? I thought the big three trading companies would be Mitsu and Co., but it might be an expression of Kazuya just thinking casually about job hunting. Yeah, he's not. It's supposed to be that Kazuya isn't like actually serious about it. He doesn't actually give a shit, right? His future is literally with the business, right? With the family business. That's his future, and he's just ignoring that in favor of finding something else when he could make it his own thing, right? Just because it's the role you were given as a kid or since you were young, it doesn't mean you can't take charge of it and make it your own thing, right? And I think that's the problem is like Kazuya thinks he wants to separate completely from that when he could take it and make it his own thing. Kazuya's father asked over the phone, is it okay to talk now if I call? And Kazuya thinks as formal as ever. This is where it feels off. When making a phone call, checking if the person is in a situation where they can take the call is basic manners and common sense as an adult in society. It's not being formal or anything special. That was kind of written weird. Was that how that scene was written? His dad calls. Kazuya, do you have a second? As usual, he's very considerate. Yeah, I don't know. So Kazuya interprets it like... How does Kazuya interpret it? What the fuck just happened? Kazuya's father asked over the phone, as formal as ever. This is where it feels off. When making a phone call, right? So Kazuya does misunderstand his dad. I do think that's an important thing. Kazuya does misunderstand his dad a lot, I think. I think how Kazuya's dad appears to him is something Kazuya misunderstands. However, in reality, there are people who call in the early morning or late at night and start talking unilaterally. I once asked a young person about it, and they said, if you answer the phone, it means you can talk. So if you're busy, you just wouldn't pick up, right? In other words, this also expresses that Kazuya is not a working adult, but a student and lacks common sense. Ooh, that's a good way of putting it. I like that. That's a really good way of putting it. It shows Kazuya's immaturity that he interprets how his dad talks as too formal, when in reality, like, his dad is just common fucking courtesy, right? It shows how Kazuya is still kind of too innocent in a sense, right? Kazuya needs to get hurt. Kazuya needs to grow up a little bit, right? He needs to mature a little bit. Kazuya's father says, you can get the license in 1 week if it's a training camp. But realistically, it's impossible because at a normal driving school, stage 1 and stage 2 combined requires 31 hours of practice training and 26 hours of classroom instructions. For practical training, most schools limit it to 2 hours per day. It's possible to do 3 hours in some cases, but not every day. Dude, getting a driver's license in Japan is so much fucking harder than anything in the United States. It is a joke. It is so easy here. It is so easy here. You can pay some dude for like a few hours of driving lessons, and that's it. You can just answer a few questions, drive, fuck up a few times, and boom, you're good to go. You got a driver's license. Now go do some stupid shit on the road. And for them, it's like, no, you need like literally 31 hours plus 26 hours plus God knows whatever, right? It's much harder for them than it is for us. Since the course can be also taken online, taking it all at once can save some time, but generally the minimum time required to obtain a license through training camp is about 2 weeks. It may take longer if you fail the final evaluation or need additional lessons. Even if it's the commuting format, there's a question of whether it's okay to take 2 weeks off from university for training camp. Yeah, that's the thing. People are like, oh, school's like really lenient, right? I could see Kazuya having Kibe cover for him, but Kazuya literally says he can't fail any courses, right? So there's an important bid here. Oh shoot, go back. There's an important bid here right. So Kazuya is kind of fucking up his life in a little bit, and I think that's kind of the point. In chapter 388, when he's with Minnie, he says something here. I'm gonna be job hunting soon. I can't drop credits if I want to graduate. Right? Kazuya can't drop any credits. He can't like fuck up and not be in class. Right? So he can't just go and do this. Right? Kibe can only cover for him so much. Right? So literally there's too much stuff going on and Kazuya is like not organized at all. Right? And he needs to kind of get his shit together. But he's over here focusing on getting buff, getting a job, and doing all this other crap that doesn't matter. Whereas the license is important, right? The license is almost a reminder of what he needs to do. But Kazuya seemingly does not have his fucking life together, right? Even when he's literally doing these things to improve, he's literally focusing on the wrong shit. He's literally not focusing on the stuff he needs to put the effort into, like fucking graduating, right? Like literally this dude needs to really focus the fuck up. And I think that's going to be something I think Reiji's going to be working on after Kazuya and Chizuru maybe have their conflict, where Kazuya is going to have to like get his shit together and start focusing on school a little bit, right? Not just simply like getting a car and doing all that, right? I think that's what Reiji's kind of setting up. That's really cool now that we realize it. Kazuya is taking the driving date Kazuya is taking the driving date too lightly. But for a beginner who just got their license, it's wiser not to carry passengers. I think anyone who can drive in public roads for the first time after getting their license while chatting with the person next to them must have incredibly strong nerves. Yeah, and Kazuya does not. Oh, I just realized that Kazuya does not have. Oh no. Yeah, Kazuya with Chizuru in a car. Oh. Yeah, the dude like freaks every other fucking second. He should not be driving unless he has his shit together. Right? Kazuya should not be driving unless he has his shit together. I didn't even think of that. That Kazuya panics so much around Chizuru that like driving with her probably is a bad fucking idea. Wow, he's catching some good shit. I didn't even think of that. Damn. He just said there's nothing to say about this. And here he is talking all this stuff. I'm like, damn, bro. Why you fucking lying? Bro? Since Kara driving school does not actually exist, it seems there's no up. This time I researched driving schools in the Nakano Ward area, but there's no places offering residential driving courses. Not only in Nakano Ward, but there are a few places offering residential driving courses in general. Interesting. However, if Mami just attends the driving school normally, I think the opportunity to meet Kazuya would be quite few. The Kenda driving school seems to offer lodge-based license training, so it might make readers think there could be scenes where she happens to meet Kazuya at a lodge, though often there's something that seems like it but turns out to be nothing. Yeah, see? Even he's telling there's like a red herring. So license is a good idea, but not as an idea for the day. Yeah. Yeah. And he points out like even if they go to the same school, they might not interact as much as readers think, right? Even if they go, and I doubt Reiji would want to depict all of the school bullshit, right? Reiji's never liked depicting classes. That's not something Reiji has liked. He doesn't like depicting college all that much. He doesn't like having the characters sit and like you go through the entire lesson. Whatever he shows in the lessons, in the classes at school, is very brief and very quick. And I doubt he'd want to just like sit through the whole thing and be like, oh, this is how you fucking drive, right? I think this is something that he'll use in relevance to the romance in some way, or the love in some way. But yeah, it's fascinating. Next time is futsal. The fact that Umi-kun is playing futsal is introduced in chapter 30, and since his line icon is probably a futsal ball, it seems like it will be an episode featuring Chizuru and Umi-kun. I predict a development like when Chizuru says she wants to talk, he responds with something like, "I'm playing futsal on the weekend, so come there." Yeah, that sounds about right. Right? That sounds about right. That's kind of how I envisioned it too, right? I hope like Chizuru doesn't actually play, but she may. She says she wants to try it here. But if Chizuru plays, it'll just be like quick, right? It won't be anything big. But it'll be interesting, right? Reiji will probably have some people from the outside commenting on how it looks like Chizuru and Umi make a good couple, right? Whatever this unprecedented thing that's not a big deal apparently is going to be, it's going to be interesting. I think the big thing that like doesn't have me worried, which the thing that makes me feel kind of comfortable on the inside is the fact that Reiji says it's something that will be resolved in a few chapters. That's why I'm not super worried, right? He says it's something that'll be resolved in a few chapters and things will calm down, right? He says things are a little tense right now. He's going to introduce something that might piss some readers off, but then it'll be resolved in a few chapters. And he says it could overturn the entire story, but it's also not a big deal, right? Which is really funny. Chizuru likes physical activity. She also goes to the batting cages. Why wouldn't she try futsal? I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe she would feel guilty to try it. That could be something. Right? She says she's focusing on her play, and then here she is playing. I could see Chizuru feeling a little guilty about that. Right? She literally says she wants to focus all on her play. The rehearsal was meant to start that weekend. It is already in the weekend. So I could see Chizuru feeling a little guilty playing a little futsal while she knows she's supposed to be working on her play. Reiji, here's Chizuru's dad. Fate proceeds to groan for 10 minutes. I've actually come to really appreciate that chapter, by the way. Chapter 392. I've actually come to really appreciate that chapter where Reiji was cooking. Umi gives her pointers on batting physique, gets physical with her to show her. Oh, you think that's what it could be? I hear futsal, from what I understand, is a very like it's more restricted in terms of rules, but it's very high paced. It's very high paced. Like I think I wrote something about it on my Twitter. Let me go to the thing I wrote. Futsal is more accessible for casual players. It also doesn't have as much contact, but it is fast-paced. This contrasts with the slow progress Chizuru feels. Actors in a play playing a game. Next week seems like it's a Chizuru-focused chapter, but it may not be as it appears. It might not be on the weekend. It might just be in the evening. Well, Kazuya left on a Wednesday. One day passed, so Thursday, Friday. So it should be Saturday. It should be on Saturday. So we can count the chapters. Kazuya left on a Wednesday, right? Wednesday night ended on 387. Thursday night ended on 389. This is Friday. 390 is Friday. And then 392 ends. And this is Kazuya on Saturday. So it should be Saturday. Chizuru said the rehearsal starts on the weekend. So it should have already started. It should have already started. I doubt we're going to go back in time and interact with Umi. It should be around the same time as Kazuya. Right? It should be around the same time as Kazuya. I don't think it'll be a flashback. Right? So that's my guess. I don't think it'll be like a flashback. It might not be in the weekend. It might just be in the evening. Yeah, I don't think so. I gotta check something really quick. Excusez-moi. Excusez-moi. Yeah, there's nobody. One viewer. Damn. Yeah, I don't know what to do for Twitch to make it more interesting. I do have to change the title though. 393 analysis done. Okay. Imagine them playing tackle football. No. But yeah, so that's the futsal thing. Upon closer inspection, there's one line missing, isn't there? I haven't noticed. I was viewing it on a small screen. It does make me wonder if it'll keeps it hard, doesn't it? Yeah, so that's what Mute wrote. I have my own big thing that we're gonna read in a bit, or just reuse the Shunji family twister bit. What are you talking about? Serious discussion. Okay. Let's start with Verkez. Oh, good. You had a lot to say. Oh, boy. Driver's license. Good idea. This might be a short analysis. Bro, that wasn't fucking short. Why are you and Mute doing the same shit? I don't have much to say about this one. Proceeds to write an essay. Motherfuckers. fucking lying pieces of shit. Kazuya's dream of Chizuru showing up. She jumps him and kisses him. Kazuya freaks out about it even in his dreams. He notices that he must be dreaming when she confesses to him. While Kazuya in a home of his own, he doesn't need to go DVD viewing anymore. He feels bad about his dirty desires. I'm telling you, this is probably similar for Chizuru. Kazuya just rejected the idea that Chizuru was controlled by her desires like that. But I suspect he probably has a very wrong impression of her there. Chizuru may have similar dreams. Kazuya has made a list of goals. His vision is to get buff and have a lot of really good job offers. But that's absolutely delusional to achieve in 1.5 months. It's also not something he would want to do for himself or even for his future. And it's just something he wants to do for appearances, right? So this is something I was saying. It's literally unnatural versus natural, right? Yes, futsal. Yeah, I know. Futsal is 5v5, whereas soccer is 11v11, right? I think that's right. I know futsal is 5v5, and it's a much smaller court. It's indoors, right? And the rules are different. Umei reveals to Chizuru that he's a rare heart disease, that his heartbeat only gets stronger around her, and he becomes a trial boyfriend for a while. That's funny. That's a good one. Okay. With Kazuya in a home of his own. Okay, we already read this. Kazuya has made a list of. Okay, we read this too. Fuck. The last points on the list are a proper confession and an even better date. But he has no idea what to do for those because he has no answer to Chizuru's question about love, and he already tried to do a perfect date. He has no idea where to even start. All these seem like nothing goals. They're either unrealistic or they lack clarity. Then his dad, Kazu, calls. He reminds Kazuya that he wanted to get his driver's license, the teaser. He had also told him that he could do it in a week. Suddenly, Kazuya realizes he could invite Chizuru to a drive date. This wouldn't be allowed as a rental girlfriend date, but it would be something different. It actually sounds like a good idea. This makes him add getting a license to the list. We see Mami also preparing to get a license. What next? The teaser for next time is futsal. Umei plays futsal. He said in chapter 30. Thanks, Omuro. He also has a futsal ball as a profile picture online. The next chapter will probably be about Umei. Yep. I noticed this too. I reread the chapters. And I'm like, oh yeah, he does say that there. Next chapter might be what that everyone likes to doom about. I have talked a lot with Fate. Oh, hi, hello. No, he's not me. Why do people keep thinking we're the same? We talk literally nothing alike. Like, literally, I call some of your shit fucking stupid. Bro, I literally say you overthink, and I'm a chronic overthinker. Going over many different possible scenarios of what might roughly happen. Kissing or more with Umi seems highly unlikely. I originally thought that Chizuru might talk with Umi about her desires, but that would be quite the intimate topic, and she really should rather let Kazuya know about those first. Yeah, I don't think so either. I feel like I don't know. I think Chizuru wants to learn how to express her love. Maybe there's gonna be some sort of reveal. I don't know. You are not active on Reddit. Anyways, there's gonna be some sort of reveal about Chizuru, and since desires seem to be the core of what we're going through, it makes me wonder if that will be expressed in some way, shape, or form. I feel like Chizuru wouldn't talk about that with Umi. That feels like a weird thing to talk about with a dude, right? But maybe she try. I don't know. Right? I don't think Chizuru will seek advice from Umi. That is weird. She's already doing it, so I don't know what you're expecting. I could see her saying something like she wants help with the play, but that doesn't feel unprecedented. Especially things that are related with Kazuya. How will Chizuru bring up the topic of intimacy? See, what makes me think is that one theory I have, which would be somewhat unprecedented, which would be quite different, is Chizuru maybe wants Umi's help to be more... Like literally the only thing I could really think of is it feels like Chizuru wants to be more career focused, right? That's the only thing I could think of, is that Chizuru becomes more career focused, or at least you're given the impression that Chizuru feels more career focused, because that seems to be the trend we're going in, right? That Chizuru is seemingly becoming more career focused and doesn't care about Kazuya or something, right? But she thinks of the kiss first and then talks to Umi. So doesn't it feel like it should be about the kiss? But then the only thing that makes me think it's not about that is because in chapter 392, there's like a little detail you miss, and it's the fact that there is a little notebook right here, right? There's a little notebook. She thinks of the kiss. She says, oh, geez, I can't believe I did that. And then she texts Umi. Right? And she looks like she feels bad about something. Right? She looks like she feels bad about something. And Umi has made Chizuru feel bad about things in the past, especially when it comes to that stuff. So it makes you wonder, like, you know, what's Chizuru talking to Umi about? Also, the fucking pamphlets got here. It was like literally, it's there here, and it's gone here. What the fuck, Reiji? Make up your mind. Is it there or isn't it? Is it there or isn't it? Why is it there in this scene and then it's not there in this scene? Make up your fucking mind, dude. Yeah, so it feels like it might be about that kiss, right? Like, why imply that? Right? Why imply that? Am I just... No, that seems too easy. I don't buy it. Feels too easy. I think Chizuru is trying to change too. We just don't know how Chizuru is trying to change. That's the thing. We don't know what Chizuru is trying to change. Chizuru wants to change something. We just don't know how she's trying to change. And I think next chapter will establish that. What does Chizuru feel the need to change? Right? Right. There's too many mysteries, and I think something will be revealed next chapter. It won't be a simple nothing. It won't be nothing. Something is going to get revealed next chapter. I can feel it. It's not just, oh, they're going to play fucking futsal and be friends. No, there's something is going to get revealed next chapter. I can kind of feel it. It's not as simple as like, oh, they're just hanging out as friends. That seems too easy, right? That seems a little too easy. Especially considering this chapter deals with that element of desire, right? Why, like, this happens right after the kiss thing. And Reiji does not like showing things for no fucking reason, contrary to what Reddit will tell you. Contrary to what Reddit will tell you, he doesn't like showing things for no reason. And this chapter is about desire, and Chizuru also feels desire. So next chapter will probably deal with that element of desire just in a reversed way, right? Whereas Kazuya tries to do it in some external force, Chizuru tries to address the internal in some way. It's just weird that Japanese women seek love relationship advice from a man who loves her. That's just weird. But we don't know if Umei actually fucking loves her. Look, we're operating on something we were not meant to see. Revealing her desires to Umei is honestly unnatural. I mean, it's the nature of Japanese people. Okay, but you actually just said something perfect. You just said something perfect. What is the nature of this chapter that I was explaining earlier? What is the nature of this chapter that I was explaining earlier? Unnatural versus natural. Kazuya literally wants to get buff and turn into this in the span of 1.5 months. That's completely unnatural. That's not realistic at all. That's like living in fucking fantasy. That's delusional shit. So you literally already have a theme of unnatural versus natural. So what you're explaining actually fits with what I'm talking about. There's this element of natural versus unnatural progression. And currently, the entire story has been going through an entire motif of very unnatural progression. Something that just feels off and not correct. It's been going on for like how many chapters now? Literally, right after Chizuru kisses Kazuya, Kazuya doesn't come back. Minnie shows up. Chizuru is not saying the right things. Minnie goes drinking with Kazuya. They keep hugging and interacting physically. Minnie yells at Chizuru, and Chizuru does something that doesn't make any fucking sense. Minnie goes to Kazuya and tells him a whole bunch of shit that also doesn't make any fucking sense. They plan their goals together, and Minnie says Chizuru must have like weird feelings towards men, like she distrusts men, which also doesn't make any fucking sense. And then you get to this chapter, and it again has shit that just doesn't make any fucking sense. But that's something that he can say to others, whereas revealing her desire to Umei is not something Japanese women can easily do. Okay, but Chizuru is not a traditional Japanese girl. That's not really a thing. She appears traditional, but she's not. Like, we don't look. What I'm saying is that we need to like find a balance between what is like actually realistic for Chizuru's character, and also what doesn't necessarily make sense. And that's what I think next chapter will be. It'll be like that balance between the two. My conclusion is that next chapter will look like adultery in some way. It'll look like infidelity in some way, some sort of cheating in some way. But it's actually quite innocent. That's my theory. That I believe is that's what I believe next chapter will be, because this chapter is very innocent, contrasted by a very adult opening. Right? It's contrasted by a very deep, dark desire that Kazuya hides on the inside. So that gives me the impression next chapter will appear a very particular kind of way. Some things will appear and be said in a very particular kind of way, but it may actually be quite innocent. That's my stance. And you're welcome to believe whatever you want, but I've said before, I don't think Umei and Chizuru have that kind of relationship where Umei actually loves her. I don't think so. I'm genuinely believe Umei does not actually love Chizuru, or at the very least, he's already moved on. Because Chizuru already turned him down a bunch of times. Wait, that's me. Chizuru literally turned him down 4 fucking times. He already knows she doesn't like him. He already knows she does not like him. I really think you're kind of really stuck on these gender roles. I think there's a huge problem here with these element of gender roles. Because you look at Kazuya and there's no fucking problem. It may give the wrong signals to Umi. Unless she already turned him down and she's literally talking about another guy. She's literally like tells him, I desire physical intimacy with Kazuya. I'm not saying you. I'm saying him. Totally different people. Right? But I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's that simple. I just think these elements of gender roles are kind of stopping people from realizing what's going on. Because you have shit like Kazuya with Minnie. Right? You have shit with Kazuya and Minnie. You think Chizuru will kiss Umi out of impulse and will immediately regret it afterwards. Then she'll reach out to Kazuya and tell him Kazuya will forgive her. That sounds idiotic. That's very unnatural from a Japanese perspective. Again, but look. Rent a Girlfriend is literally a story that like depicts characters doing a very unnatural job. And literally the moment you read it, it talks about stigma and shame. Like literally the moment you pick up Rent a Girlfriend, a lot of people don't think about like, positive things. A lot of people want to assume and say certain things. Kazuya literally says these things about Chizuru in the very first chapter of the series. So I don't know. I just think next chapter will appear a very certain way and it won't be. She rejects him several times, but Umi is stubborn and doesn't want to give up on a trial relationship. That's a good way of putting it. But I actually think Umi has kind of moved on, I think. It just looks like he hasn't. And the reason I can say this is because we haven't actually heard what he said in 179. Did you notice that? Did you notice how we never actually heard what he said to Chizuru in 179? We're left to assume what he said based on what we overheard from him and Chizuru talking. We're left to assume what was said. Most things that happen so far make sense from a Japanese perspective. But then suddenly revealing herself to Umi, I don't know, very difficult to see. So what do you think will happen? Because it has to be unprecedented, but not a big deal. I don't know. She could ask, what would a kiss mean to you? Right? She could ask something like that. What would a kiss mean to you? This is, I think, related to Mami, not Chizuru and Umi. No, it's definitely Umi. It's definitely Umi. That would be the thing to turn readers off. I think Chizuru could ask, what would a kiss mean to you? That would make some sense, right? When you kiss someone, what would you think that means? But Umi thing has already appeared multiple times. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What Umi thing? What are you talking about? Kazuya interacting with Mami is not unprecedented. That's not like something shocking. That's not unprecedented. Kazuya hanging out with Mami, so? We already know Kazuya's feelings towards Chizuru. Why the fuck is him hanging out with Mami a big deal? People will crash out from next chapter spoilers. I can already envision it now. Yeah, I mean, I'm already feeling that too. Most people already have a fear about Umi from the very beginning. But what if it looks like it's real now? What if it looks like it's real now? Like, oh, there's a possibility. Chizuru chooses to interact. Here, give me a second. Let me turn on the light. The only thing I could assume it being kind of bad, but something that could be resolved in a few chapters, is that Chizuru starts a working relationship with Umi. right? Not a trial relationship, but like a work related relationship of some sort, which would be kind of very big deal-ish. Why are you so certain it's a kiss? Because a kiss would like feel like be a pretty big deal that you can't really take back. Right? Feel like a kiss is a huge deal you can't really take back. Like, it's not like I haven't thought of it being a kiss, but that would be weird. What for? What would that achieve? Like, I just don't get it. What would a fucking kiss achieve? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Colleague to colleague type shit. Oh yeah, I'ma just kiss you, bro. I'ma just kiss you, bro. Sure. Yeah, sure. Do you kiss your homies on the mouth before bed? Look, if it does end up being that, cool. They go method acting and they are going to play a pair in the upcoming play. Real homies kiss each other goodnight all the time. Chizuru and Umei will kiss. That's just nonsense. There's no point in including that. It just feels weird. Like, the only thing that would make sense for is what Chizuru describes, which is the feeling behind it, right? If Chizuru has no feeling behind the kiss, right? That would be a trial kiss. Damn. I don't know, man. We are shown the kiss, so it's going to be relevant to the kiss in some way, shape, or form. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Okay. We read this. Let's go back to the Veracruz stuff for now. So next chapter might be the one everyone likes to doom about. I've talked a lot with Faye. Okay, we already said this. Intimate topics, you really should let Kazuya know about those too. The most innocent event that the potential for a controversy would be a physical touch. We speculated that Umei and Chisuru might hug. In that context of futsal, also a physical activity, it would make sense if they are, for example, cheered and hugged after winning the game. Such a hug would be a rather innocent act, which still has the potential to rub people the wrong way if it was with Umei. Even just knowing that Chizuru and Umei are still friends, it'll be still infuriating to some. Why would I assume that Umei must have ulterior motives? Now to Mami. I doubt she'll be in the next chapter already. If she and Kazuya probably once again be brought together by fate during driving school boot camp, as people pointed out together. She didn't want to get involved, but she will probably still be curious and ask Kazuya about Chizuru. He might actually tell her. Kazuya might go get along quite well with Mami. Doubt. No. Big doubt. I think I can see where this arc is trying to go with its theme. Kazuya is trying to be better, and I'm almost sure that we will learn that Chizuru also didn't feel worthy of a relationship. No, it's not that Chizuru feels unworthy. It's just that Chizuru wants to feel like she can do enough to be with him, right? We now introduce Umei and Mami into the story again. The audience will surely be conflicted. Depending on where you stand, you will see things differently. If people think Chizuru treated Kazuya just horribly, you might say that he would be better off with Mami. Yes, the girl who said that heinous shit and literally tried to break up his relationship with his family. That girl is better off for him than Chizuru, who was trying to protect his fucking happiness. Yeah, that girl. Sure, guys. Yeah, that's a better pick. Sure. Mami, who did all that heinous shit in Hawaiians, like literally the most vile crap, is a better pick. Sure. Go date the evil one. If people think Chizuru treated Kazuya just horribly, you might say that he would do better off with Mami. If you think that Kazuya is the problem, you might say that Chizuru would be better off with Umei. If you think that Kazuya tried his best but just couldn't get through to Chizuru, you might fear that Umei may steal her away. And if you think that Kazuya just couldn't see that Chizuru tried her best, you might fear that Mami might try to abuse that situation again to take Kazuya away from her. This seems like a deliberate setup. I do agree. Kazuya for sure fears that Umi might seduce Chizuru. He feels inferior to him. He knows about the confession. He could possibly see Umi take advantage of Chizuru being lonely, but didn't Kazuya make her feel lonely? Yeah. I don't know. I think it's not that. I think Kazuya has a deep sense of distrust with Chizuru. We think it's Chizuru who distrusts Kazuya. I think that Chizuru, I think that Kazuya is the one who actually has trust issues with Chizuru. He's the one who doesn't trust her, and he's the one who's actually kind of been weird about it. Chizuru actually has trust issues with Minnie, right? And then Minnie has trust issues with Chizuru, right? I think that's more accurate. I think Kazuya has more trust issues with Chizuru because of his fear of infidelity and that she'll be with someone else, right? So I think that's more what will bother Kazuya, and I could see Kazuya being more upset at that than anything. I could see Kazuya being more upset that Chizuru was with Umi when she said she wouldn't have a boyfriend and Umi confessed to her. And he sees that out of context and he gets very upset. Chizuru knows that Kazuya loved Mami. On the way home, he said that he couldn't love anyone more than Chizuru, but if Mami gave him another chance, he might just settle for her. Chizuru also knows that Mami is manipulative, and she could absolutely see her taking advantage of him, but didn't Chizuru reject him? No, it's not that Chizuru rejected him, it's that Chizuru didn't tell him about Mami. I think that's more of an issue. Something interesting might happen if Kazuya learned about Chizuru being with Umi. Kazuya believes that Umi is a shallow playboy. He thinks he could win Chizuru over no problem. But he also thinks that Umi would just dump Chizuru again if he had enough of her. When he starts to think about them actually being together, he will realize that this relationship will not make Chizuru happy. Would Kazuya think that, or would Kazuya doom? She wants a big family, and she wants to spend a lot of time with them. She also feels lonely a lot. Umi won't be there for her if he's focused on his acting. I don't think Kazuya is really processing how lonely Chizuru feels. I don't think he really knows that. I don't think Kazuya is really processing that right now. You're giving Kazuya a little too much credit, Verkez. Kazuya deep down still doesn't believe Chizuru actually loves him. Agree. That's why he wakes up from the dream when she says, "I love you." Right? That's why he wakes up. He deep down, he doesn't believe this. That's why he's not going to the kiss. That's why he's not committing. He just dreamed about her saying she was lonely. True, but that's what he wants to hear. Right? I think deep down, Kazuya wants her to be sad and lonely. Right? Deep down, he believes it. Deep down, somewhere in there, he knows it, but he's choosing to forget. Right? He's literally time leaping, if you will. He's literally time traveling. He's choosing to forget. But deep down, somewhere he knows. But I don't know, right? I think deep down, somewhere Kazuya knows. Kazuya does not think Umi in the way. He just thinks he's superior than me in many ways. I don't see that Umi would just dump Chizuru or anything like that. Yeah, that seems like a lot of speculation. I don't know about the whole dumping Chizuru thing. That feels like just random. I think Kazuya is just more insecure about Umi, right? And just feels Umi is better than him and he can have what he wants. When in reality, Umi is not better than him, and he's actually a total fuck up, and he doesn't know how to help Chizuru for shit. That's the funny part. Umi literally, the one thing Chizuru wants is like a guy who's able to help her out. Umi fucking sucks at that. Umi is terrible at that. He always makes her feel like shit when trying to help. He always sucks at that. Umi literally works better as a friend. Umi literally works better as a friend because he sucks so much at helping people. He's really fucking bad at it. Like, he literally, every time Umi tries to help, he somehow makes things worse. And because things get worse, there's a conflict that's necessary that needs to happen, which helps. Right? Umi actually makes things worse. He fucking sucks at this job. We're probably going to get a similar situation in this Christmas stocking thing. Kazuya seeing them play futsal, thinks she's moved on. No. I don't think he would think she'd moved on. He'd be angry at her. I could see Kazuya being angry at Chizuru. I could definitely see Kazuya being angry at Chizuru because he feels manipulated and played. And the readers will feel manipulated and played, right? They'll be upset at Chizuru too. I think that's going to be what it is. It just feels like Chizuru and Umi might be like hanging out, or it feels like they're starting some sort of like work-related relationship, which again doesn't seem like a big deal. But then you would think to yourself, what the fuck? I feel manipulated. I feel played. Chizuru said she liked Kazuya. How could she do this? Right? And I could see, I genuinely think that might be that simple. They start some sort of work-related relationship where Umi like maybe helps her with the play or something. And I think that that seems like more the thing. I'm not saying you're onto something. I'm saying there is clear signs it is similar to the Christmas incident, but not quite the same. Particular chapter 288 is similar to the Christmas incident because you were not supposed to hear that. You were not supposed to hear what happened in chapter 287, 288, and 289. You were not supposed to hear that. It's presented to you out of context for a reason. Umi's also not as bad a guy as Kazuya thinks, but I think Kazuya feels like he would dump Chizuru. He literally believed he would just date Chizuru even when he had a girlfriend. Well, that was Kazuya like assuming the worst in Umi, but that's not the root of Kazuya's fear. Right? That's not really the root of Kazuya's fear. The root of Kazuya's fear is literally like that Umi is like a superior than him. Why do you think Reiji's setting up that Mami will spend a week or two with Kazuya in the residential driving school? Why that long a time? Only two of them. What's the purpose? For one, I actually don't think it's going to be as long as you think. I think Reiji said it was a week, so it would only be a week at most. But it being particularly a week is kind of perfect because that's right before Kazuya's birthday. Basically, I think Kazuya's birthday is going to be a massive turning point. Kazuya's birthday is going to be a massive turning point for where we're going. And I don't think that week even it's going to be as big a deal, as long, or it's going to be as much as interacting with Mami as you think it is. I think they're not going to have nearly as much interactions as we think. The camera died? Wait, what? Why? The phone should be charging. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay. Sure. Well, lucky me, I have another solution. Anywho, so you actually spend the entire week sleeping there, having 3 meals a day, so there is simple chances to interact with each other. I don't think Mami will just ignore that opportunity, given that she now has feelings for Kazuya. Well, Mami is actually... So, okay, there's a whole lot to discuss with Mami's character. Mami is actually, like, not addressing any of her actual feelings and what she did. And I bet Mami will probably feel a lot of guilt when it comes to Kazuya. right? It is a driving camp. There's clear setup for a driving camp. No, there's clear setup that it's a driving camp. Let's go to it. Kazuya's dad literally says to him, you can get it in a week if you're staying there, if you stay at the driving camp. And then you literally see mommy set up for a driving camp, right? So, no, it's definitely a driving camp. That's for sure. It's just, whether when it's going to happen is what we don't know, right? When it's going to happen is what we do not know, right? We don't know what Reiji is cooking. If Kazuya's father said it, mommy is also seeking for it. Yeah, the question is why is mommy doing it? That's the fascinating part. Why the fuck is mommy doing it? Right? There could be thematic purposes to mommy doing it, as mommy is trying to, have more agency over her life. So that could be why mommy is doing it, right? So she can have a little more control over her life. But it is ultimately fascinating, that why we know why Kazuya's doing it. Why the fuck is mommy doing it? Why does mommy always sip something? I mean, that's mommy's thing, bro. She's literally always drinking coffee. Girl is like cracked up. Girl's cracked up. So, interestingly, my old phone that stopped working started working again. And here it is. So I have a backup camera just in case my old one does not work. Just in case my old one does not, or my new one, just in case my new one does not work, I have a backup that I can use. Convenient. Real convenient, actually. Right? Chizuru and Umi may like when they express first present for Kazuya. Looks like they're dating, but actually just practicing their lines. You're also not supposed to see this, but Kazuya stalked them. Lol. I don't know. It's see the thing that just makes me doubt all of that is that Reiji says it's seemingly something unprecedented. That's the thing that makes me doubt everything. It's like, it's the details in which he phrases it. Continue with what Becca's wrote. Something interesting may happen if Kazuya learned about Chizuru being with Umi. Kazuya believed blah 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 blah. Umi would be there for her if you I similar Becca. Yep. Learned about Kazuya and mommy. She heard Kazuya as well in the process. Mommy will hurt Kazuya again. Chizuru can't see her appreciating Kazuya's effort, and she also can't see her putting in effort herself to make Kazuya happy. She can't see mommy making a relationship work. Mommy doesn't deserve him. Chizuru would do anything to make Kazuya happy and make a relationship work. She is a better person. So what is she doing right now? Even trying to let Kazuya waste his efforts on mommy. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one, right? I'll give you that one. Do you see this setup can make both of them realize that they're already in the better choice for their partner, and they are currently doing the opposite of what makes them better by just not being there? This should hopefully make them establish contact again before July 11th. Okay. I have a feeling Kazuya will invite for a futsal game or somehow be there. Yeah, it makes me think, will Umi text Kazuya? That's the thing, like, that's making me think. Is like, will Umi text Kazuya? Because Umi has Kazuya's number. Umi has yet to talk to Kazuya. Will Umi text Kazuya? Right? That's something that could be interesting. Right? Will Umi text Kazuya in some way? I actually think that Umi's just a friend to Chizuru. He might have confessed, but Chizuru was not interested in him. I also think she probably already rejected him. She might not have rejected him before he came to visit in Chapter 13. The assumption did not make sense with the idea that Chizuru thought Kazuya would give up when she rejected him. If Umi hadn't given up after she rejected him, she would have known that Kazuya also might not give up. I realized that we just wanted to assume that Umi wanted an answer to his confession, but he could have actually asked a different question in Dakinyama, to which Chizuru was supposed to find an answer. The question we know he asked was, "Do you love that friend of yours?" As she didn't answer that question with a clear yes, he still might have a chance. If that's the case, then Umi made Chizuru feel bad for not answering Kazuya already. It clearly made her take action the next day to invite Kazuya to an outing that resulted in the daycare arc. Umi might have actually been helping her by reminding her that letting someone wait for your answer was unfair. Again, I kind of agree with this, but I also think like Umi is like literally playing into Chizuru's feelings of being unfair. Kazuya was not supposed to hear this. He couldn't have had full context. He couldn't have known the true question. And since he didn't want to reveal that he stalked her, he also couldn't ask about Umi anymore. Umi might not be a bad guy, but Umi might not be the bad guy we think he is. He might genuinely try to help Chizuru. She might tell him about her answer to Kazuya, which will also freak people out if they think this would mean Umi might get a chance now. That could be interesting, but I don't know. He won't. He'll probably see it quite clearly that Chizuru is not happy with the rejection. He could even try to contact Kazuya since he has his line contact. Chizuru might think that Kazuya won't get jealous since he always pretends to be fine with her meeting other guys. Umi can absolutely prove her wrong. Okay. I think Kazuya will not celebrate his birthday in his family home because of that person. I'm talking about the guy staying in his room. I don't know. That's an assumption. We don't know if that's true. But that would be interesting, right? Kazuya seemingly feels like he has no one to celebrate with, right? That would be an interesting turn of events. Right? I do think that would be a fascinating turn of events. Because Kazuya feels like he has, he doesn't have a family home. Mommy can't bring herself to admit being the villain, but there's something she could do. Wait. I think Mommy wanted to apologize for what she did in Hawaiians when she asked him to meet in chapter 263, but she couldn't because Kazuya was not aware of that. No. You're giving Mommy too much credit. No. I'm gonna read what I wrote. You're giving Mommy too much credit. So Mommy did want to repair her relationship with Kazuya. She did, but that's not what she did. She chose to not take any responsibility. She simply got what she wanted. If you go back to chapter 263, Mommy simply got what she wanted and Kazuya got absolutely nothing. Like, let's pull it up. You're giving Mommy too much credit. No. That's not what Mommy did. All Mommy has done is make excuses. You're giving her far too much credit. Mommy meets Kazuya, says sorry to keep you waiting. Doesn't even have an expression on her face, doesn't say sorry or anything. He says, no, I just got here too. Let's go to the cafe. Yeah. They keep walking. Neither of them says anything. Mommy doesn't say anything here, right? Now that I think about it, this girl, she was my girlfriend once upon a time. What does she want to talk about anyway? I imagine she'd consider hanging out with someone like me a simple waste of time. I told her we'd stop lying a long time. We stopped lying long ago. What would she think if I told her we were living together now and that she's investigating it all? I should consider the fact that she isn't reporting any of what's happening between me and Mizuhara as simple kindness. This road, right? So he literally, Kazuya views her in a positive light. Right? Perhaps in another timeline in which I'm still together with her, right? Alternate timelines, right? We're literally talking about alternate timelines. Kazuya's eating. Is it good? Yeah. She's calm and reserved, as expected. Actually, that's not Mommy at all. Mommy is not calm and reserved. Mommy does not do calm and reserved. That's not Mommy. And Kazuya doesn't seemingly process that this is not Mommy. That she doesn't act like this. This is weird. All this stuff that happened, there's no way she isn't feel super awkward either, right? I'm the number one guy here for everything. I'm the one who caused trouble for Mizuhara. I'm the one who keeps getting Mommy-chan involved in everything. It's all my fault. I should apologize to her from the bottom of my heart. No, she should. She's supposed to apologize because she did everything. It's all her fault. Everything she did was literally, the entirety of Hawaiians was all her fault. She did everything. Kazuya should be receiving the apology of the gods. She should literally be like, dude, I'm so sorry for what I did to you. No. Instead, Kazuya apologizes to her. Right? And suddenly she feels like she's not to blame. Suddenly, Mommy's not to blame anymore. He apologized to me. What happened in this scene? Mommy saw how Kazuya apologized to Kibe. It happened to her, and she's content with it. She's content with this outcome because she gets what she wants. She gets to feel better. She gets to get closer to Kazuya, and she doesn't have to deal with anything she did wrong. Right? She doesn't have to deal with anything she did wrong. In contrast, what happens when Chizuru meets up with Kazuya in a very similar way, right? So, let's go back a few chapters. Interesting. Chizuru takes charge of the situation. Kazuya leads in this situation. Right? Kazuya and Mami go to a cafe. Kazuya and Chizuru also go to a cafe. Interesting. What does Chizuru do? She offers Kazuya some tea. What does Mami do? She drinks the tea. In just that simple thing that's conveyed, it's shown to you what Chizuru wants to do. Chizuru wants to give to him. Mami wants to take. Mami wants to be given. Mami wants to get things. She doesn't actually want to do anything herself. Mami doesn't want to do anything. She just wants to be given. She wants to be saved. She wants an escape. That's all Mami wants. She doesn't want to take any responsibility for what she did. She literally just wants an escape. And you love this because she seems like a cute, innocent, adorable girl. Oh, she's so cute and adorable, and oh my god, she's so in love, but you're literally ignoring what she fucking did. Right? Mommy's the one who should be apologizing to him. Then, the conversation's already dead, right? Here, the conversation hasn't started yet. They both want to say something. Right? With Chizuru, it continues. It doesn't simply stop there. With Mami, it does stop there. Right? That's where it ends with Mami. It does just simply end there. Right? We get to this scene. Chizuru is like, what do you want to say? You go first. Right? You have the right to go first. He wants to hold hands. She wants to hold his hand. He says, what did you want to talk about? She says nothing. It's nothing. Never mind. She wants to keep holding his hand for a little longer. Once they finish, what does Chizuru do? She apologizes. She gives him a gift. It's chocolate. Take it. I'm sorry for ignoring your messages and avoiding you. She takes complete responsibility. Whenever I tried to reach out to you, I couldn't get Ruka-chan out of my mind. I kept thinking this is wrong. It's not the season for it, but I thought it's better than nothing. Mizuhara, in this way, I feel like crying. I don't know why. So, well, I keep coming back with just apologies. At least she fucking apologized. At least she actually tried to make a real change and say sorry. And then Kazuya says, right, I'm sorry too. I fucked up too. But you know, I can't help but think that maybe the kiss was more than just professional. I just wanted to ask you straight up, does that mean nothing more to you? Right? At least, right, Kazuya actually steps up too. Right? They made a real effort to communicate. They actually tried to communicate. What happens with Mami? Right? Kazuya says sorry. What does Mami say? It's a lie that you're dating, isn't it? I heard from Chizuru's-san. Huh. Yeah, she talked. Mami hasn't said a word all day. Mami has not said a word all day. The entire time they were the entire time she didn't say anything. She didn't speak a word. Nothing. Huh. Right? She didn't even acknowledge Kazuya. She just said sorry for keeping you waiting. But who's the first person to talk? Chizuru is the one who chooses to lead. She sees Kazuya panicking. She sees Kazuya freaking the fuck out. She could tell he's freaking the fuck out, and she takes the lead. Hey, it's okay. I got this. How about this? How about that? Right? Kazuya's like, she's acting normal. I'm like, are you acting normal? right? Kazuya, she's like, she's totally normal. Are you normal? You can't tell you're not being normal, right? But that's not it. But she's just doing her job right now. Maybe mixed professional and private life is difficult for her as Mizuhara, right? He processes, he thinks about it. Then he leaves. Today, I have it to do it today. I'll ask her during the day, right? He keeps walking. She lets him lead, right? And they actually come to an understanding. I'll tell you everything if you'll let me. Mommy never even chooses that. She gets up. She says, oh, it's about time to go. Yeah, so she's mad after all, right? She didn't say anything to him. Kazuya doesn't know at all what mommy is thinking. Thank you for your patronage, right? Who paid, right? I bet Kazuya paid, right? We don't even see. I bet Kazuya paid. Yeah, Kazuya is the one who paid. Kazuya paid for everything. Dude, Kazuya paid for everything. Mommy didn't pay a fucking dime. The fucking rich girl didn't pay anything. Kazuya paid for everything. And then she says, all right then, see ya. What the fuck? She meets up with him, doesn't say a word. Literally, he apologizes to her and she leaves. What? What? Absolute dick move. Complete, utter dick move. Literally, she got everything out of this and he got nothing. She fucking used him. This is manipulative. Even if she doesn't think it is. Even if you don't think it is. Mommy literally wronged him really fucking badly. And Kazuya, being the nice guy that he is, thinks it's his fault. And mommy doesn't know. Nope. I'm okay with not being the villain in this picture. It makes me feel better that I'm not the villain in this picture, that I don't have to take responsibility. I get to escape my problems, right? Kazuya's like, that was all? Yeah. Is that a problem? What do you mean, is that a problem, right? The fuck? Is that a problem? Are you serious? No, I wouldn't call it a problem. That's great then. Thanks. She leaves. Notice how she makes it seem like it's his fault. Is that a problem? It's like it's his fault. He did something wrong. Huh. It's almost like this is actually really fucking shitty. And Kazuya is left thinking, women are such a mystery. What the hell, for real? What the hell was that all about? She invites me out for so long and we just spend half an hour in a cafe, right? They haven't talked in 4 months. She invites him to a cafe, just says that and leaves. In contrast, Kazuya comes home and look at how he reacts to Chizuru. Right? She says, welcome back. There's a real sense of comfort. Look at how he reacts to mommy. What the fuck? Comfort. Kazuya gets confused by Chizuru here, right? He's looking for signs because he's looking for signs with mommy. The sign was in front of him, right? He's like assuming all this shit about Chizuru. The sign is literally just fucking move your eyes, dude. It's right there. Just she's using the bathroom, right? And she still tells him. She still spells it out for him, right? She still explains very clearly what she's feeling to him, what she wants from him. What does mommy do? Mommy never tells him what she wanted from him. Mommy just shows up, gets what she wants, and leaves. And she's content with that. That's cool, bro. I got what I wanted. I'm okay with that. And then there's another scene right after this chapter that actually also captures this really well. In chapter 264, which is right after the chapter where Kazuya meets mommy, we cut to Sumi. We get some foreshadowing for Sumi. We cut to mommy. Mommy gets a flashback. Aren't you the one who's lying to herself about her feelings? She has 239 line messages. She checked none of them. What do you see? Hey, look, it's that tea again. Hey, look, it's that tea again. Mommy's drinking tea again. But what do you see? An empty cup of tea, a completely full cup of tea. Someone got something. Someone didn't get anything. It's not too late to re-examine how you truly feel. That was all. She has a picture of Kazuya. She gets to look at Kazuya. Oh, she gets to stare and be in love. Oh, she gets to look at this relationship. Right? She gets to have this thing. And then what happens in the end of the chapter? This part's great. Sis, I want food. Shut up. She doesn't want it. She needs to make something for someone else, and she doesn't want to. Right? She needed to cook for her brother, and she doesn't want to. Right? She wants to eat. She doesn't want to make anything for someone else. We'll hold off for now. Let me read some of the comments. I think some people commented. She assumed that Kazuya would at some point accuse her. If he had, she might have told him she was sorry. She deliberately put herself in a situation where he could blame her, but he didn't. So she had no follow-up and left. No. You're giving her too much credit. Mommy, the moment mommy got what she wanted, she was content. But the thing is, she knew Kazuya wouldn't blame her. Kazuya doesn't blame people. She knew Kazuya wouldn't blame her. He won't do this. Because he didn't do this in Hawaiians. He didn't do this at any other point. She knew Kazuya would never actually blame her. She knew that would never happen. That's why she doesn't say anything, right? I don't disagree. She needed Kazuya to take the initiative. He would have needed to accuse her for her to react with an apology. She could not initiate an apology herself. That's no excuse. She watches Kazuya initiate an apology to Kibe, and that's why she meets him in the first place. She watches him initiate something, so she initiates and does nothing. She chooses to meet up with him and takes no action herself. And she's content with that. She still took no responsibility. She chose to do nothing. She still chose to sit in her own prison, and she was content with her own prison. She's supposed to be a direct mirror to Kazuya. This still doesn't mean she didn't want to apologize. She just couldn't take the initiative. No. I'll show you later how Mommy keeps giving herself other excuses. Mommy should apologize to Chizuru as well, so Chizuru can get free from that guilt Mommy threw at her. Yeah, well, Chizuru feels guilty about Mommy in a different way. She feels bad about Mommy because she can't forgive her. That's why Chizuru feels bad about Mommy. Chizuru wants to forgive her. Chizuru doesn't like feeling this hate. Chizuru doesn't like feeling this hatred towards Mommy. She wants to forgive her, but she fucking can't. Right? She can't bring herself to do it. She can't stand Mommy. So she can't bring herself to fucking do it. That's why Chizuru feels bad. She feels bad that she hates someone like that. That there's someone like that she just cannot fucking stand. Kazuya is a fiddle most eventful. Stop playing, but Mommy. I don't know what that means. If Reiji attempts to make Kazuya come back to Mommy, if the suspected scenario of seeing Chizuru and Umi, that will be Kazuya back into the toxic pool again with Mommy. His relationship with her was toxic. Yeah, it was. What Mommy had with Kazuya was definitely not healthy. I don't think we will go down that direction. Right? I think the brilliance of it is that I think maybe Kazuya and Chizuru need to kind of save themselves and each other. Not one person saving the other person. They need to save themselves, I think. She did not get what she wanted. Nothing was resolved by Kazuya not knowing about what Mommy did. She did get what she wanted. She did. She got to feel better about herself. But in the end, that didn't matter because she didn't actually get what she truly wanted, which was to get closer to Kazuya. But she was content with this outcome. She was okay to repeat a cycle. She was okay to get a little bit of what she wanted and not the real thing. Why? Because Mommy is not actually tough enough to escape her circumstances. She's too much of a coward. She doesn't want to escape her circumstances. And so she's content with getting an easy way out. She's content with the easy way out. She doesn't actually want to liberate herself. She's content with like continuing the cycle she's not really happy with. And literally just, I got this, that's fine. This is good enough. I got this. This is fine. This is good enough. She's content with that. But she's not happy. I'm not saying she's happy, right? I'm not saying mommy's happy. Mommy hates her circumstances, but she's doing nothing to change them, and she's content with that. Mommy's brother looks like Arasa, kind of. One thing I find funny is every female character loves Kazuya, but he was described as some guy who got rejected 6 to 7 times in high school. Lol. What they love about Kazuya is that all the female characters see something in Kazuya all those other women really didn't look for or appreciate, especially because they were younger. And it's that Kazuya is so honest and open, in ways that look pathetic and don't look traditionally manly. Kazuya is not traditionally manly. So a lot of the girls he probably asked didn't see that stuff in him. They didn't care about him. They didn't appreciate these parts of him. Chizuru saw that from the start. Mommy initially dated Kazuya and maybe caught some feelings for him, but didn't really decide to actually look at her feelings or even look at Kazuya. And so naturally, she eventually got when she started becoming jealous of Kazuya, right? She started to actually see her feelings, right? But mommy always kind of had feelings for Kazuya. She just chose to push him away because it was easier, right? She pushed him away because it was easier because of her family circumstances. She used an excuse. Right? She used an excuse to hurt him. That's why she hurts him in a really brutal way. She uses the line she breaks up with him is the same line that her first boyfriend broke up with her. Literally, that she uses the same exact line. I said this when we were reading chapter 215 way back when. The line she breaks up with Kazuya is the same exact line that her boyfriend broke up with her. She literally does it to Kazuya. She hurts him in a very brutal way. Mommy in that chapter is primarily in the center. She gets all of the attention. Kazuya is being left with the unanswered questions, and that's then some, while Mommy got what she wanted. Yeah, she's pretty much in the center of the picture, and she's content with that. Mommy would not have had to meet Kazuya at all. I can see her wanting an apology from Kazuya. I can't see her... Oh, no. She wasn't looking for an apology. She was looking to escape her sins. You misunderstood me. She meets Kazuya in the hope of salvaging a relationship with him. But that's the thing. Mommy gets an easy way out. You're not completely wrong in that she came to Kazuya to maybe salvage some sort of relationship with him. And maybe a part of her thought he would be angry, but a part of her knew he wouldn't be. A part of Mommy knew Kazuya would not actually be upset with her. Because Kazuya did not get mad at her at any other point. Right? So a part of her knew Kazuya would not actually be upset. And the moment that was confirmed to her, she was content with that. When Mommy was provided an easy way out, she was okay with it. That's what I'm saying. When Mommy was provided an easy way out, she was okay with it. She got what she wanted, and she was okay with that. She didn't actually want to make change. Right? She showed up with the premise of making change, right? She took the initial initiative to make change, much like how Kazuya took the initial initiative in the 3 months to make some change. But literally, the moment change seemed, but the moment she was met with any form of resistance, no. I'm okay with the easy way out. The moment she's given the easy way out, she takes it. She's okay with it. It's supposed to kind of mirror Kazuya, that like he's somewhat taking kind of the easier way out in some respects. What if Bobby really attempts to make a relationship with Kazuya back while spending time on the driving camp? What will Kazuya likely gonna say? Well, if she does, she's screwed, because the moment he finds out what she did, he will actually fucking hate her. Right? The moment he finds out what she fucking did, and he sees that she was trying to form a relationship with him, he will fucking hate her. It's like, are you kidding? You tried to hurt the girl that I love, and you expect to have a relationship with me? Hell no. Hell no. I think they love each other only and only other noise. The story is what will drive them to really communicate with each other eventually. Mommy is very much eye for eye, but her victims don't deserve. She really, whatever. If she made the initiative, it means she wants change. Verkez, you're missing the forest for the trees. I'm saying that very specifically because you're saying Chizuru did that. No. Mommy does want change. She doesn't actually want to try for change.
Mommy wants change. She doesn't actually want to try for change. Change is not easy. To truly make change, you have to put a fucking effort in. She was willing to take step one because mommy is at that point in the story where she wants to actually make a change. She wants to actually do something. But she doesn't see how she can do that. She's not lazy. She's not lazy. Mommy is not lazy. It's not laziness. It's conditioning. She's been conditioned for so long, and she's too afraid to actually make real change. Mommy's been conditioned for so long because of her family circumstances. She doesn't actually want to make real change. That does not excuse her actions. That does not excuse what she chose to do. If anything, what she did is even more shitty considering what she did to him. Okay? It's that simple. Mommy does want to make change, but when presented with an easy way out, she will take it. Because she is not at that point where she can actually make real change. She needs to be met with adversity. Mommy has no adversity. She has no example that can show her how to actually make change in her life. Right? Mommy has no actual example on how to make change in her life. She follows Kazuya's example. She sees Kazuya in chapter 245 make a change with Kibe. So she follows Kazuya. She literally follows him the whole time. Kazuya apologizes to her, so she feels like this must be what change is. And she's content with that. Right? Kazuya needs to show mommy how to change. That's kind of simply it. Kazuya needs to show mommy how to change. Right? Because mommy is kind of like seemingly his Umi in a sense. Right? Mommy is Kazuya's Umi in a sense. He needs to show her how to change. Right? Chizuru seemingly showed Umi how to change, I think. Right? And that's maybe why she goes to him. Right? But Kazuya needs to show mommy how to change. She doesn't know how to change. Right? She's content with repeating the cycle. But if she truly wants to change, she has to admit what she did wrong. She has to admit what she actually fucking did wrong. If Kazuya learns that mommy had a fiance when they were dating and he was never really serious, then the first line in chapter 1, along with the machinations of paradise, will really make him upset. Yeah. But I feel like Kazuya will also understand with the fiance thing, because if he knows her parents were forcing him, if he knows her parents were forcing her into such a terrible circumstance, I feel like that would be different. I feel like Kazuya would be like, that's shitty. She's just trying to change her fucking circumstances. If anything, I kind of understand because I feel like my circumstances are really shitty, right? So in that way, Kazuya could understand, right? I think Kazuya could still empathize. It's just mommy lying about what she did to Chizuru. That's a whole other fucking ballpark, right? He's outside. Why is he outside? It's late. Kind of don't want to read all this. Yeah, I'm not too interested in reading all this. Hey, Veracaz, if you're still here, is there anything else that's interesting that's worth reading? So far, I'm not seeing anything. To be fair, I am skimming. You didn't actually finish reading what I wrote. I didn't? Read that. She didn't deserve an apology. Okay, when he apologized to her instead, she must have felt just as bad as he did when Nagomi apologized. No. No. She did not feel bad. No. When mommy apologized, she did not feel bad. She was actually kind of happy. Right? If anything, he gave her a leeway to ask that he wasn't dating Chizuru. If anything, he gave her a pass so she can ask if he's not dating Chizuru. And she got what she wanted. And then she made him feel bad for asking if there was something else. No. No. This is not the face of a guilty girl. This is not the face of a guilty girl. She is in cloud 9. This is not the face of a guilty girl. She is on cloud 9. Giving her way too much credit. Mami can't bring herself to admit being the villain, but there's something she could do when she learns of Chizuru's rejection. Mami knows that Chizuru can't have rejected Kazuya because she couldn't see his qualities. Mami started to fall in love with Kazuya over the 1 month they were together. Why would Kazuya tell her about the rejection? Well, why? What reason would Kazuya have to tell Mami about Chizuru rejecting him? No, he won't tell her. Why the fuck would he tell her? She only rejected him because she couldn't see the relationship working out, and she didn't want to get hurt even more again when it would eventually end. She ended it herself before her feelings for Kazuya would grow even more. Kazuya was never the problem. Mami was. She can tell Kazuya that. Oh, you're talking about Mami saying that. Chizuru's thoughts behind the rejection are probably not the same as Mami's, but that is one of the possible theories behind her rejection, and it could make Chizuru the problem and not Kazuya. Even just knowing that there is a possibility that Chizuru might have rejected him because he wasn't good enough might be enough for Kazuya to start seeing a different perspective. Mami's proof that his perspective exists. This will help him get to an understanding. I don't agree. I think Kazuya will be presented with a possible alternative with Mami, but that alternative is merely fiction because it's built on a lie, right? He'll be presented with an alternative with Mami and then only to realize that alternative is merely fiction. It is literally it's built on a lie. And I don't even know when that alternative will even happen. Anyways, I'm going to read mine now. What is your deepest, darkest desire? What do you wish for so desperately yet hide in the night of your heart? Something you want so badly yet feel you cannot have without earning it first. Without a license. That's chapter 393. 393 can feel pointless the first time you read it. Just like the opening is merely a dream and not reality. So too is the chapter just mostly Kazuya talking to himself and imagining things. But everything shown speaks the truth of the story's core, unspoken conflict of acceptance. We completely ignore the cliffhanger from last time in favor of this chapter. But what if this cliffhanger is actually informed by this chapter and we don't even realize it? The deep desire Kazuya and Chizuru feel for each other, but feel like they aren't allowed to have yet. Whereas Kazuya's path ultimately leads to a collision course with Mami, very intentional choice of words, Chizuru's path naturally leads her to Umei. I'm off for today. I read your Twitter already. See you next week, probably. Bye-bye! Chizuru's path naturally leads her to Umei. One is an unplanned result of their own passivity. One is an active choice to seek advice. Two contrasting paths that seek to return to the same source, each other. Kazuya wakes up from the dream when Chizuru says she loves him. Not the multiple pages of kissing or the intensity of it all, but I love you. This reflects how real and vivid these desires are to him. That only something he knows has not happened yet would make him up from them, right? She hasn't confessed, that's the reason. These feelings of desire are so intense that they have consumed even his dreams. In one scene, he says that the Chizuru is not controlled by her desires like this. But the irony is, she's just as horny as him, but feels like she needs to control and change those desires for him. Just as Kazuya is trying to change these chapters in ways so he can be with Chizuru. Just as Kazuya is trying to change in these chapters in ways so he can be with Chizuru, so too is Chizuru trying to change in ways to be with him. It's just in reverse ways. Kazuya in earning her affection through monetary or physical growth, Chizuru in changing her feelings, right? Naturally, this is wrong, but at this point, but that is the point. In forming the wrong foundational understanding of what the other wants, they have in turn come to the wrong conclusions about how they need to improve. Chizuru talking about career, Kazuya talking about feelings and desires. 393 raises a question. If everything you experienced in this chapter is just a dream, does it not matter? Many will quickly say, yes, but what if that dream reflects what you actually want? What you should actually do? This dream tells Kazuya what he should be doing. In contrast, 4 pages focus on Kazuya's goals. Get buff so he can be desired physically, get a job so he can be desired financially, perfectly confess so he can be desired emotionally. Also he can get another date. But what do all of these share in common? Desire. What is not spoken is what gives this chapter depth and worth. Reishi adds comedy in these scenes to make them engaging for readers who, on first read, may not appreciate this, giving them rewards yet also using that comedy for his story to reflect the very idea of desire, that it's comedic, it's stupid, it's silly, right? The interesting parts come when Kazuya gets a call from his dad to get a driver's license. This is reality catching up to Kazuya's fantasy, the two meeting in the middle yet reflecting the issues perfectly. He needs this for his future. It's a fact. Not like the other goals. But also, Kazuya, like we said before, Kazuya is not really processing what this means. He's still being like a stupid young college student. He's still not being an adult. In that same way, that mirrors Mommy, who's probably also not really being an adult for the reasons that she's getting her driver's license. She's not really doing it for real adult purposes or the change she truly seeks. She's probably just doing it for something stupid, just like Kazuya is, right? This is a natural progression for Kazuya's character to get a driver's license. He needs it for his future. But literally, how Mute described it is perfect, right? So let's go to how Mute describes this sequence. Let's see what he says. Kazuya's father asked over the phone, is it okay to talk even if it's a call? And Kazuya thinks as formal as ever. This is where it feels off. When making a phone call, checking if the other person is in a situation where they can take a call is basic manners and common sense as an adult in society. It's not being formal or anything special. However, in reality, there are people who call in the early morning or late at night and start talking unilaterally. I once asked a young person about it, and they said, if you answer the phone, it means you can talk. So if you're busy, you wouldn't pick up, right? In other words, this also expresses Kazuya is not a working adult, but a student and lacks common sense. Much like how he interacts with Minnie, right? Literally, the way Kazuya and Minnie interact literally screams irresponsibility, right? They're not responsible. Minnie and Kazuya are not responsible adults. They're young and stupid. They wasted an entire day fucking drinking and literally not doing anything with their fucking lives, right? Kazuya literally wastes this day not being a fucking adult. He's literally in his stupid undies, sitting at home, trying to plan for his future or some shit in like a really stupid fucking way, right? That's the point. Is like he's not being a real adult. He's being a stupid fucking kid. He literally has not taken real steps into adulthood. He's not actually addressing his real problems. He's not actually dealing with any of his real problems. He's being a kid. He's being stupid. That's the point. Kazuya's father says that you can get the license in 1 week if it's a training camp, but realistically, it's impossible because at a normal driving school, stage 1 and stage 2 combined requires 31 hours of practice daily and 26 hours of classroom instructions. For practical training, most schools limit it to 2 hours per day. It's possible to do 3 hours in some cases, but not every day, right? So the classes would only be like 3 hours. Since the course can also be taken online, taking it all at once can save some time, but generally the minimum time required to obtain a license through training camp is about 2 weeks. It may take longer if you fail the final evaluation and need an additional lessons. Even if it's a commuting format, there's a question of whether it's okay to take 2 weeks off from university in training camp, right? So Mute highlights some very good points here. Kazuya is taking to driving day too lightly, but the beginner who just got their license is wiser to not carry passengers. I think anyone who can drive on a public road for the first time after getting their license while chatting with a person next to them must have incredibly strong nerves, and that's not Kazuya at this point, right? This being a real thing he needs is great. As through his license, Kazuya can have more autonomy, but also work towards the family business. This problem arises in how it appears. He forgot it. Much like how he isn't talking to Chizuru now, or how he's dealing with any of his problems, or even remembering Chizuru for that fact, or the fact that he's not even considering, like, hey, this is going to take a lot of effort and it's not going to be fucking easy, and I can't probably do it in 1.5 months. It is the problem and the solution in one. In forgetting about his license and putting it off, he ultimately came full circle to Mami. He would not be running into her if he took action sooner, just as Chizuru would not be going to Umi if he had talked to her instead of Minnie. These problems arise from our own choices. The license also reflects the idea of earning, but notice how it's natural in contrast to the unnatural buff Zuya that we see in the earlier part. He doesn't even need to imagine it. It's just simple, and it's so normal it makes sense. There are things we can do that help our future and our relationships. When making change for our future, it should not be forced. It should not make sense. It should make sense and come naturally. It should align with real responsibilities, not made up ones to satisfy our ego. Learn when to trust your gut, even if it's desire. Even if you feel it, trust your feelings, don't fight it. The chapter has that clash very clearly portrayed, an unnatural direction for which we can reach our desires, contrasted by the dream that tells us what to do versus the natural direction of our future that exists alongside our desires and does not need it to validate its existence, right? We don't need the desires to validate the existence of why we do what we do, right? It should feel natural, and we should do it because we want to, right? Not because we're trying to become something for someone else. I think there was something that like said it perfectly. Give me a second. I think if you want to do something, you should do it for yourself. But this is always framed as if changing for love, and like, is that even love? Right? Basically, here I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this person, they showed this thing where they're like, would you trade your style for eternal love? Right? Would you trade your style for eternal love? He says people not seeing the implications in that one on the right are a little scary, right? So people are not seeing the implications of what's wrong with this one, where he seemingly becomes a completely different person. There is change to be a better person for you and this world, and then there is change to fit traditional values of your partner, right? He loses who he is. He loses who makes him special. This person is way cooler than this person. This person's way more interesting than this person, right? This person is he evolved, but in a natural way. This person did not evolve in a natural way. They changed who they are for this other person. They lost a part of who they are. I think Fragrant Flower Blooms of Dignity does this in a really interesting way, where spoilers for Fragrant Flower for those who are just watching the anime. If you're just watching the anime, just go. There's a part where Rentaro dyes his hair black again, and he does it because the girl that he likes might get in trouble if she's seen with a guy with that kind of hair, right? And she's worried about that. She's like, no, I don't want you to lose a part of yourself. That's wrong. He's like, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I still have my earrings. I still have all this stuff. The hair does not define me. It's not a huge deal. It's okay, right? He didn't lose an aspect of who he is, right? The hair is not necessarily the massive defining part of who he is. He kept a part of who he is. He didn't necessarily lose that. And I think that's really cool. That the way that explores that. It's like, yes, he changed, but it wasn't something where he sacrificed a part of himself. He just dyed his hair. It's not a massive deal. He's still who he is. Something like that. That's cool. But again, it's presented in a very mature way. And I love that Reishi is presenting this conflict of Kazuya seemingly changing himself in an unnatural way, right? And it does make you raise the question, will Chizuru try to change in an unnatural way too? Right? It does raise that question. Will Chizuru try to change in an unnatural way too? Or will Chizuru change in a natural way in contrast to something that's unnatural that's occurring around that the natural path, right? It seems like Umi is like more of a natural direction that Chizuru reached out to him herself, right? In contrast, maybe maybe it'll look unnatural, right? Maybe it'll look unnatural, but maybe it's a natural direction. We don't know. We'll have to see what the chapter's like. I think next chapter, we'll literally, when we read it, we'll know how to feel. I'll know how to feel when I read that chapter. I feel like I'll come to a better understanding when I read that chapter. I'll know what Reiji's cooking. Because I've always known, like literally when I read the chapters, the moment I read the chapters, I'm like, oh, okay, I know exactly what he's fucking cooking. I completely understand now. And that's just a repeating thing whenever there's like these repeating things in these chapters. where like people will get really upset at these chapters, and I'll read them and I'm like, oh my god, you're so fucking stupid. And that's literally how I felt in 380, right? Everybody lost their shit over 380, and then I read it, I'm like, oh, y'all are so fucking stupid. And I feel like that's gonna be I feel like this next chapter, I'm gonna be real, like watch next chapter really actually just not be a big fucking deal, but it's super different and never happened before, right? Watch it just actually not be a big deal at all, because that's literally how Reiji describes it. Reiji literally describes it like it's something that theoretically overturns the entire story, but it's actually not a big fucking deal. It's literally not a huge deal at all. Like it doesn't matter that much. And watch it literally be fucking nothing. Watch it be fucking nothing. Right? The clash of the natural and unnatural is key here. The dream is a natural progression of events Kazuya denies because he doesn't believe Chizuru would say, "I love you." Yet when in reality, it should make sense. The dream is a fantasy literally colliding with reality. It's both fake and real. This was all foreshadowed in chapter 386. The taxi driver that picks up Kazuya talks about something that does not align with events and the visuals shown to us. But his words appear to come closer to current events as we continue. And now Kazuya is getting his license and appears to drift away. But 386 has the Japanese title read, "An Innocent Drive Towards You," much like how the visuals of the previous page represent innocence versus the adultery topic of the driver. Chizuru's grandpa was also a taxi driver, so Kazuya getting a car also aligns closer to his natural path. This is the other half of the natural versus unnatural, innocence versus adultery. And if this chapter showcases innocence while being adult, the next chapter will maybe showcase adultery but actually be very innocent. And rather than our mistakes catching up, it is the right choices rewarding us. The next time is futsal. Umei plays futsal. He said so in chapter 30, and they said that they would go try it together next time. Chizuru just said she wanted to try. She didn't say she would try it together. So maybe Chizuru and Umei may play a game. This game could just be innocent, but appears more, much like chapter 30 and 31 did. Chizuru's conflict mirrors Kazuya, but in reverse. Mami is a reflection of Kazuya's inaction, a prisoner in her own home, not knowing how to change and reach her future. Umei is a reflection of Chizuru's actions, evolving past his mistakes and trying to be better, but appearing bad just as Chizuru appears bad to some readers. Mami has appeared quite cute in the story as of late. She just seems like a girl in love, and it looks almost heartwarming. This hides a very ugly truth. Mami has not addressed any of her wrongdoing. She didn't apologize to Chizuru, Nagomi, or even or most of all, Kazuya, let alone even try to atone. All Mami has done is give herself excuses. Listen, look at this scene very carefully. I talked about this scene yesterday. I don't know if I think I talked about this scene yesterday. She says, "I figured it might be a rental thing, but either way, it means she's still involved with them. If anything, it means she's gotten closer. It makes me sick." This part, she says, "You disgust me." She literally says this to Chizuru, and look at her reaction. She hates that she said this. So what does she do? Still, I'm not going to expose her or anything. I never planned to anyway. I don't have anything to gain from doing that. It has nothing to do with me anymore. I don't have to feel bad about this. I wasn't actually going to do it. I don't have to feel bad about this. I wasn't actually going to do it. Right? Even though, what were we seeing? Right? After smiling at the chaos and calling Chizuru, well, that word, I'm going to try to avoid it. I keep getting demonetized or like getting part monetized or whatever. It's so fucking stupid. Right? Like, look at Mami's smug smile when she sees how Nagomi reacts, and Chizuru is like frozen up, and this is fucking killing her, right? And then she says, "Why did I say that to him, even though I said I wasn't going to get involved?" As she continues to not tell Kazuya what she did so he doesn't hate her. Right? She says, "Oh, I'm being desperate. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." And, she never actually talks to Kazuya or actually like says anything really meaningful to him, right? She wants to be with him, but makes no real meaningful action. This is why Chizuru said she can't forgive Mami. Chizuru, the person who has forgiven Kazuya for accosting her in public, embarrassing her in front of his friends, and even stalking her, can't forgive Mami for what she did. Mami hurt the people Chizuru loves far too much. In contrast, what have we seen Umei do? After what he pulled in the movie arc, Umei invites Chizuru to a party, and she goes and greets him normally. Umei acknowledges and compliments Kazuya in front of her. He later tells Kazuya he actually really respects him and wants to be friends. Right? He meets up with Chizuru. She says, "Hi, Umei-kun." There he is. Thanks for coming. No, thanks for inviting me. Right? Totally normal. They're talking. Sorry for being a bit late. No, not at all. People just have been showing up early. Wow, the dress is stunning. Black really is your color, Chizuru-chan. Oh, thank you. Right? Oh, thank you. Right? He's just being formal. He's just being nice. He looks at Kazuya. Hello, Kinoshita-kun. Long time no see. Right? And then that's it. And he moves on. He later talks to Kazuya and he says, I really respect you. Like, I think you're a really cool dude. He takes a picture with him. And then he says, right, like, I thought you and I could be friends. Right? So that's how Umi presents himself. In chapter 282, Umi is shown giving a girl a late gift for White Day, saying sorry for being a month late, which seems really shitty, but it's not too different from Chizuru's Valentine's gift in chapter 238, where she apologizes. The volume also has Umi smiling and saying sorry right after. Right? He looks up to her and says, "Oh, sorry, what were we talking about?" Right? He got distracted. Right? Umi is then depicted going to Chizuru's home and paying respect to her family altar, saying he wanted to do it at least once. In that time, he yet again acknowledges Kazuya when entering and leaving. He also addresses Minnie and greets her with respect, not judging the situation. Right? Minnie comes in, she remembers him, and he says, "Nice to meet you, Minnie-san." He smiles at her, right? Just like a genuine smile at Minnie. Oh, same here, right? It's a little weird, right? Were you busy with his visit, Chizuru-chan? Look at how he smiles. It seems sinister, like there's something underneath. You're meant to feel like something is wrong here, right? You're intentionally led to believe something is wrong here. He says, "You're Kazuya-kun, right? We exchanged line contacts." He hadn't talked to Kazuya at all in this entire time, right? The way he frames it, it's like he doesn't know who Kazuya is or he doesn't remember him. Whereas he's been stuck in Kazuya in his head in this entire time, right? Sorry for never dropping a message after we did that. No problem, right? And then when Umi leaves, right, Chizuru guides him back here. She's like, "Anyway, thanks for the incense. The shrine is this way. I'll show you there." Sure, coming in, right? Umi's then depicted at Chizuru's home. I said this in time, and yet again acknowledges Kazuya when entering and leaving. He also addresses Mizzy and does not judge the situation. But Umi in these shots appears sinister. These scenes are also seemingly undermined by Umi's actions in chapter 125. Kazuya's perception of Umi and Umi's confession in chapter 127, which Chizuru seemed bothered by. But then, why keep talking to him if he's such a problem? Why let him in, right? Kazuya talks to her. She seems bothered by something. Something's on her mind. She seems kind of down. Did she run into somebody she doesn't like, right? Kazuya could tell something was up. Chizuru takes a deep breath and says, "Do you want to go?" And then they leave, right? Umi in all of these scenes intentionally appears troubled, but none of his actions after chapter 127 actually cause problems. Even the confession. He even maintains proper physical distance from Chizuru. This should remind you of how people often see Kazuya for the worst of his mistakes, right? And it feels like he's saying something to Chizuru here, and Chizuru feels bad about it, right? Right? He's saying something. He's saying "I love you" to Chizuru, and Chizuru seemingly feels bad about it. It's like he's reprimanding her or something, right? It's like he's calling her out on doing something. Chizuru's struggle is around her feelings. She does not doubt Kazuya's feelings. Umi was the first person to reach her. Umi was the first person to hear her I don't not like him words. He's the person who helped Chizuru get a phone case for Kazuya. Kazuya knew about her acting because of Umi. This led to the film, right? Chizuru is going to Umi because of her feelings for Kazuya, in particular, her desires for Kazuya. Yet she feels she does feel a very deep desire for Kazuya, but maybe she thinks her desires bother him. He told her that he would wait. She kissed him, and he's still waiting. What happened? Chizuru kisses Kazuya, and he doesn't text her back. Chizuru wants to know what he thinks, but he talks to Minnie instead. Minnie then shows up, yells at Chizuru, saying, "Don't you have any idea what you're putting him through?" It's like Chizuru didn't give him what he wanted. It's like Kazuya is still waiting. We know this is about the text. It should just be obvious, right? Minnie is just saying, just text him. But like, why is Kazuya in pain? Why is he still waiting for her to feel like she loves him? She just told him, so she must not be good enough yet. She still has to reach love. So Chizuru omits the kiss from Minnie, hides it. She creates a goal for herself, that being July 11th. She will succeed in the play, and she won't have a boyfriend so she can find her feelings for Kazuya, even though she's already in love. Her acting is an expression of her love. Chizuru said these exact words in chapter 100 for her grandparents. Because they believed in her, because Kazuya keeps believing in her, she will find her love. She will show him she can find it by July 11th. The play reflects her real goal. She is doing the same thing as Kazuya is now, right? Thank you for believing in me. I will give it my best to become an actress, a superb actress just like Grandma. I'll make an amazing appearance in a movie and show both of you. Thank you for telling me that dreams do come true. Thank you for telling me that you'll support me. Thank you, Grandpa. Their foundation led to Kazuya misunderstanding Chizuru and vice versa. Kazuya needs to grow from the outside, Chizuru needs to grow from the inside. That's what they believe. How can she show Kazuya she loves him? She needs to address the kiss, correct that. And who better to help than Umi, who saw her love on her face? Did Chizuru think she kissed Kazuya without being in love since Minnie said what she said? Did she kiss without permission? What does she want to do about these feelings of her, about this desire of hers? What does Chizuru need to do to reach her goal? And how can Umi help? All right, I talked about Futsal earlier. This is a repeating motif of Chizuru as of late, literally not appearing clearly to the readers, with many misunderstanding her. We don't hear her thoughts anymore. The story will continue with this idea while revealing information to us in a way we think we understand, but do not. Anyways, let me read what some of the comments are saying. If you've seen season 3 finale when Chizuru breaks down in Kazuya's arms, that's 164. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure we don't talk about rag manga. The 64 thing is not about rag, but the other manga. Oh, we're talking about Friggin' Flower. I noticed on season 4 of the anime, both selfies of Kazuya and Umi and Chizuru and Mami, and both Mami and Umi are winking, were both shown. Huh. That's an interesting thing to notice. Let me pull that up. That is an interesting thing to point out. Interesting. So that's one. And then I believe it's chapter 197. Yep, it is 197. Huh. 178, 197. Weird. Yep, Mommy is winking. That is an interesting, yep, that is an interesting detail. Mommy is winking. And Mommy did take this selfie. That is an interesting detail. And then Mommy presents herself as Kazuya's friend. Or no, Mommy presents herself as Chizuru's friend. Just as Umi presents himself as he wants to be friend. Barbecue with a friend. And then Mommy is seemingly out to get Chizuru. So is that what we're supposed to be led to believe? Is like Umi is actually out to get Kazuya? Right? Is that what we're seemingly led to believe? That we're seeing these parallels? And then Umi's actually out to get Kazuya? Reason why Umi makes Chizuru say yes on his party, Kazuya. Why did Mommy do on the beach arc with Chizuru? What did Mommy do on the beach arc with Chizuru? You have to be very specific. Mommy and Umi have similar hairstyles. Guess so. Mommy did kiss Kazuya in the background in that scene. Mommy did kiss Kazuya in the background in that scene. Dude. Dude. Reggie's gonna keep fucking with us and I don't like it. Reggie's fucking with us and I don't like it. Umi because Kazuya lol. Mommy and Umi have similar hairs. Well, no, the implication here is that Mommy took this picture in Hawaii Mommy took this picture in the beach and Mommy kissed Kazuya in the background. And then here Umi takes a picture with Kazuya, says we could be great friends. And you're given the implication, oh no, what if Umi kissed Chizuru in the background? It's leading you to believe that, right? He wants you to believe this. I'm not saying anything, but what if it did happen? I think Reiji wants you to believe this. Reiji wants you to think something happened between them in the background, right?
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. But like, if Umi like forcefully kissed Chizuru, she'd fucking hate him, dude. If Umi forcefully kissed Chizuru, she'd fucking hate him, dude. Are you shitting me? She'd hate him. Like, I think Chizuru would fucking hate him if Umi actually did that. Flashback to the Tiger's Den next chapter. I don't know. That is an interesting catch. Don't get me wrong. Literally, the images are the reverse of each other. That is an interesting catch, right? But this image seemingly didn't exist. We never saw this image being taken, right? We literally never saw this image being taken. So, you know, we don't know what that means. Wouldn't succeed in his attempt. She'd palm strike him in the face. Pretty much, right? Like, Chizuru would have fucking hit him. Yeah, I don't know. What if? But that's the thing. Mommy is literally not genuine, and you're led to believe Umi is not genuine, right? You're led to believe Umi is not genuine, but Mommy is actually not genuine. The only time Umi has actually not been genuine is chapter 124 through 127. And even then, he does kind of tell the truth, and even then, he actually does something good. Like, I think people forget how chapter 127 actually ends. Where 127, like, it literally ends with Umi actually supporting her in the end. He doesn't act like a piece of shit. He actually supports her in the end. So this tells me that, like, no, it's not that simple, right? It's not that simple. But there is supposed to be a similarity. This is a cool catch. There is supposed to be a similarity, right? And Mommy uses this picture to gaslight Chizuru. But Umi has seemingly never used this picture in any way. Like, it just exists, right? He just says, cool if I post it on Twitter. Yeah, no, why not, right? He checks for permission. And again, you're led to believe, oh no, Umi's a bad guy. And you see him smile like this, right? Literally, it gives you the Mommy impression. Right? It literally gives you the Mommy impression. You're led to believe Umi is such a shitty guy. He's literally just like Mommy. What the fuck? What would you say this means to you? I don't not like you, right? I don't not like you. You heard me, right? I don't not like you, right? He's saying it like as if Kazuya has already heard this. I think that's the funny part. The way Umi says this line is like as if Kazuya already heard this, right? And then Kazuya is just like, he asks him, is this for a script? No, it's nothing like that. Right? I think this part is interesting when Kazuya says, is this for some sort of script? Like, what's going on? It means that I like you. I think, maybe. Okay. Yeah, right. I thought the same thing. And then it just ends, and he says, I feel like you and I could get along great. He smiles and leaves. Doesn't this kind of feel like the interaction Kazuya had with Mommy? But the difference is, Umi actually compliments Kazuya. That's the difference. Umi actually compliments Kazuya, and he talks to him a little bit before he says all the other stuff. That's the difference. It feels similar to that interaction with Mommy, but he actually compliments Kazuya. So I don't know. The comment sections are filled with unintelligent, useless members of society, babbling on and on about their bullshit when they just appeal, when just apply a little bit of genuine logic can destroy their points. Who are you referring to? I'm sensing a lot of anger. Plus, the detail of Umi's hair is well hidden in his images and his emotions. Well, Umi is an actor, but this is genuine. It just feels weird. What's the point? It's like it's genuine, but why is it genuine? What's going on? Oh, the Crunchyroll YouTube comments? What? In reference to what? In reference to what? What YouTube comments? There's a lot of those. Like, what are you referring to? Right? Mommy makes Chizuru feel like a bad person. Umi nails the idea of like that feeling too. Okay. It's so cool how the current arc started with a kiss in a taxi, a rental car, driving forward. And it seems like it's building to now Kazuya getting his own car, being able to drive himself and Chizuru. Like breaking the cycles of our past and taking charge of our own lives. Chizuru kissing Kazuya has happened before, so her kissing him in this dream feels real to Kazuya. But Chizuru never said, I love you so much. So that's why Kazuya realizes it's a dream. The nature of the dream is a double red herring, making you think it won't happen, but it may, or it will. Mommy coming back at the end bookends the theme of the darkness in our hearts. Mommy not only thematically represents the unaddressed darkness in the story, but also contrasts and mirrors it by hiding the worst of herself, because it is, in fact, heinous compared to Kazuya's desires. Mommy's actions are what traumatized Kazuya. They are the source. She is the reason Hawaiians happened as it did. She is the reason he feels so powerless. She reinforced her own lack of agency onto him. She stripped him of his best qualities, erased him as she erased herself. Mommy represents what Kazuya actually has to deal with, his inner qualities, the part he neglected in favor of the outer. This makes Umi interesting as the person Chizuru goes to meet. Maybe Chizuru is going to meet him for her internal, but maybe the solution is for her external. This maybe sounds weird, but let's think about it. Chizuru struggles to shape the world around her. She struggles to articulate herself, her words and her actions, losing control while holding on. She's a fantastic actress, but struggles to truly get what she wants without help. We've seen in the past how she put her heart and soul into something, and it seemingly amounted to nothing, all because someone else was more privileged than her. Her efforts seemingly gone unrecognized. This is similar to where we are in the story. Many don't see how hard she tried. Even the play she just got was nothing more than a fluke. She ultimately is nothing more than a replacement, just like Rental. How can she make this role her own? How can she control her own life, take charge back from the world around her? Chizuru seems ready to do that, but maybe he's struggling to do it. Kazuya already knows how to take charge. He just has to face his inner demons. Chizuru is different. Chizuru struggles to shape her own destiny. She can lead, fight her history, even put in the work, but she doesn't know how to take charge of change in the way she wants. The cosplay arc captures this struggle well. She loses control to Minnie first because of something small, because it's related to Kazuya. She tells Kazuya the truth about cosplaying. She controls her own actions when posing. But when it comes to Kazuya himself, she reacts a lot, especially when she gets jealous. Everything related to Kazuya makes her hesitate and doubt herself, because it matters so much to her. She fumbles a lot and constantly has to course correct so he doesn't get the wrong idea. This gives him the impression of mixed signals without meaning to. It's the same with Minnie. This is best captured when they leave. She lets them go. She lets them leave when she wants them to stay. She thought she did what she needed to so that they will stay, but they didn't get it at all. Minnie showed up, and Chizuru's celebratory meal was wasted. The kiss didn't matter. Chizuru then continued to wait for Kazuya, hoping he will text, but he doesn't. He never does. She gets a call from her manager, which seemingly alters her course again. Minnie just shows up, and yet again she's further from what she wanted to be. It's just like the 3 months all over again. This brings us to Umi. He has his career together. Lots of people like him. He has 270k followers on Twitter. But in reality, he represents the same external powerlessness. Kazuya and Minnie ultimately can't trust Umi. He always seems like he has an ulterior motive and isn't genuine. Chizuru is a struggling actress. Her skills are not in question, but rather her ability to be the leading roles. Much like how she thinks she can't really be the leading role Kazuya wants her to be, right? She can't or be a lead for him. The birthday arc revolves around that idea, Chizuru questioning her own value. In this arc, Chizuru's big play is finally shown, and she has this big side role supporting the main character who leaps through time. Again, time travel is a motif just like the Steins Gate reference in chapter 390 and chapter 392. Chizuru is support like her last play, but just a more important one now, that's all. On her birthday, Chizuru asks Kazuya what he thought of the play. Notice how even the question she poses is not about her, it's about the play. But she wants to know how her performance made him feel. Something we saw in Minnie breaking down and Kazuya literally moving with her, right? When Chizuru reacts, Kazuya literally reacts to her.
So naturally, all she is told is that she was the best. This is great, but it clearly didn't evoke enough emotion from Kazuya besides his initial excitement. She was still a side role. Chizuru didn't ask about herself, but the play. She literally viewed herself as a side role, so she got just that. Her reaction to his initial excitement is what she wanted to be. Her reaction to his initial excitement is what she wanted, but his comment about her felt tame in comparison. Chizuru is still grateful, but she's still a side role and still needs to become the main role, not realizing she really was the main role for him all along. Kazuya, in contrast, aimed to please, even though he was trying to be honest. He then gives her a gift, which at first she thinks is just him doing it because he needs to, only to realize he really wants to. She got what she wanted, just not how she imagined it. Chizuru doesn't feel she can take it all. Maybe it's her being frugal, maybe it's her thinking she doesn't deserve so much yet. So she takes just one. She's at least earned this one. A ticket Chizuru has yet to use because she is not the leading role yet. She can't request anything yet. And this is interesting. She gave him a ticket to her play, and then he gives her a ticket for him, right? It's like that ticket is going to come back in some way, right? It's literally, the ticket is actually quite important, it seems like. It makes you wonder if it's going to come back on his birthday. Chizuru wants to nail this role she's currently working on. It evokes such emotion from Kazuya that she can know for certain she has given him something worthy of love. That's why she wants to knock it out of the park, because the kiss was apparently not enough to show him love. We think she's focusing on career, and is in fact the opposite. She literally wants to do so well in this play that Kazuya knows how much she loves him. If we go by this logic, she turned to Umi to help her improve her performance somehow, convey her love better somehow. Right? That's just if this logic even makes sense. But that's like the one thing Umi sucks at. Umi represents her exact powerlessness because he also asks and does the wrong things trying to help her. Just look at her first play. He gets her into the play, she doesn't get the role, and he gets the girl who got the role to thank her. The fuck does that do? Umi literally tries to help, but kind of sucks at it. He doesn't know how to actually help Chizuru. He kind of just makes things worse in helping. Umi literally is just a side role in her life for that reason. He is in part why Chizuru feels so unfair about her feelings. He wants to be Kazuya's friend just to make him feel insecure. He wants to be Kazuya's friend and just makes him feel insecure instead by throwing a big party. He does this again in the home visit, greeting Kazuya and Minnie, then doing something that sets off the alarm bells and makes them doubt Chizuru in the process. Umi sucks at helping. What Umi does do, however, is present a necessary conflict. And being so bad at his job, he introduces ideas that ultimately help. Much like his first appearance, he accidentally talks about the sketch, which leads Kazuya to learning about Chizuru being an actress. Umi and Mami are reversed, but lead to the same result. Kazuya thinks Mami is a good person when she has done terrible things to him. Chizuru thinks Umi is a good guy who can help her, but he can't really help. Chizuru knows Mami will hurt Kazuya, and Kazuya thinks Umi will use Chizuru. This will ultimately push the characters back into who they want to be without needing to do any of the crap that will ultimately result in the same mistakes. Chizuru is trying to be the leading role in Kazuya's life, and Kazuya is being a worthy man of her. None of that crap matters. Reiji's literally telling us that they will get together soon, but first we think they have to be apart, and we have to confront some uncomfortable truths, confronting their insecurities about each other while also trying to protect each other. It feels like a fight in the making, something smoldering perfectly before chapter 400. Kazuya has also had clear signs of trust issues with Chizuru, remembering the scene when Minnie calls her sneaky, contrasted by his faith. He actually doubts her, and Umi is a challenge to that trust. That's why infidelity is a theme that Reiji plays into with Umi and Chizuru's mom. In contrast, Chizuru really values Kazuya's innocence and wants to protect it at all cost, but also wants him to lead, which means being an adult. Kazuya is too naive at times. Chizuru sees it. It can probably be a source of frustration for her, considering how tough he can be. Chizuru needs to stop holding back and let him have it. She can't protect his innocence and be his partner. Kazuya has to face the pain. He has to see what Mami did so he can understand Chizuru. He has to know what Umi actually means. Kazuya has to be able to deal with adult subject matters while still being his kid self. In trying to protect him and shield Kazuya, Chizuru has let Kazuya be too childish in the relationship. In contrast, in not seeking clarity from Chizuru, Kazuya has doubts about how earnest Chizuru is, despite how innocent he knows her to be. This is the relationship conflict. Kazuya has to know that Chizuru can interact with Umi and it is not romantic or unfaithful. He has to actually learn and trust how serious she is. Chizuru has to be able to hurt Kazuya and know he will be okay. Tell him about the endless pain Mami has caused her and him. There's also the double standard of Kazuya. He gets jealous of Chizuru being around other men, yet interacts with Ruka, Mami, and Minnie, and never considers how that might make her feel. Chizuru literally asks him about Ruka like 6 times in the date alone. It clearly bothers her. Minnie literally says this in chapter 3. Minnie literally says this to Chizuru in chapter 390, and I bet it totally scared her that Ruka may steal Kazuya away. In contrast, because Chizuru doesn't want to hurt Kazuya after the 3 months, endlessly having faith in him, he doesn't really get challenged to face hard truths. Maybe this is why Chizuru says she won't have a boyfriend until the play is done, so Kazuya doesn't get a girlfriend either. Now, she may see him with Mami, of all people, and Kazuya sees her with Umi, both respectively dealing with their own problems that they themselves caused. Okay, so yeah, it sounds like next time we'll end up seeing what Reiji is cooking with the Umi thing, right? We'll finally get to see what Reiji was cooking with the Umi thing. It's intentionally made to sound scandalous. He's probably gonna lean into it, scare the readers some more. But and then he's gonna maybe reveal something that's been there the whole time and it's gonna fucking scare us. They're gonna be like, oh my god. Doesn't even matter that their points doesn't make sense because they're all got clout, except if they spread their filth, then other people will accept their filth. Oh my god, what are you guys talking about? You guys talking about like a couple of cuckoos? Oh, a couple of cuckoos fans claiming that the series has more progress than Rent a Girlfriend. I got really bored of Couple of Cuckoos. I was reading the manga, and there was a point where I just felt really bored, and I just kind of ended up dropping it. I know a friend who really likes it, but I just kind of got fucking bored. I didn't really care for Couple Cuckoos. It was like interesting for like a little bit, and then just like whatever. It feels weird considering like the idea of how cuckoos raise each other, right? Like, because when I looked up, I'm like, oh, why is it called A Couple Cuckoos? I'm like, oh, this is actually fucked up. What the shit? The play of Chizuru, I have a feeling Reiji will activate Miho for 2 things. She will rob Chizuru and Umi, and the second try to steal the role from Chizuru, or she and Chizuru, blah, 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 blah. Now I wonder how they'll take it will play. Would it be good to wind the rift between them? Maybe Kazuya doesn't know. Maybe because Umi doesn't know empathy. That's why he sucks at helping, because he always adds his own agenda rather than genuine help. No, it's not that Umi doesn't know empathy. It's not that Umi doesn't know empathy. He is empathetic. He just doesn't know how to make the change he wants to see. Umi literally just doesn't know how to make the change he wants to see. I don't know, man. Look, let's just all get it out of the way. People are not gonna like next chapter. It's gonna be an Umi reveal, and you're not gonna like it, and you're gonna be upset. Let's just get it out of the way. Just walk in with that in mind, that you won't like next chapter, that there will be something you will not enjoy about next chapter. That's just a fact, okay? And when the things come out, it'll be what it is, right? And we just have to accept that. We just have to accept that there's something we will not like. There will be some sort of hard truth, right? There will be some sort of hard truth we're not gonna be happy with, right? But you have to understand it will be resolved soon, and it's just something we got to move on from, and it's okay, right? You just got to accept it. 218 2.0, if you say so. You think they're finally going to break the internet for the 3rd time? Hey, man, if anyone could do it, it's Reiji. If anyone could do it, it's Reiji. Umi will be treated like a war criminal again? Oh, no. Reiji will be. Reiji will be treated like a war criminal because this is what the fandom loves to do. They love to hate on the author. Okay, you know what? Kazuru, if you're gonna fucking doom, dude, I'm just gonna put you on timeout. I'm already giving you a warning. If you're just gonna doom, I'm just going to put you on timeout. I've been tempted to put a lot of people on timeout because I'm seeing some of these people like literally go under Reiji's comment section and complain, and then they come here and they act normal. Don't do that. Don't go to Reiji's comment section and be fucking assholes. And then come to me and act like you're all buddy-buddy. If you're gonna shit talk my favorite author, don't expect me to be fucking nice to you. Okay? Like, if you're gonna go and be rude and then change your mind right after, you can't just fucking take back what you said. Right? You still did something shitty. Okay? So, he definitely won't be an asshole. I don't even have to. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying there are people here who have done that. And that bugs me. But I also want people to not doom. Eh? I need you to not doom. I need you to fucking relax. Right? Because I don't need that kind of atmosphere here. Eh? I don't need that kind of atmosphere over here. All right? Cool. Alrighty. I think that's it. It's getting late. I gotta get to bed. It's a little late on my end, so I gotta get to bed. So I'll see you guys later. Take care. Have fun. Have a good night. I gotta sleep and wake up early. And tomorrow should be fun. Woo. Tomorrow should be fun. Or not tomorrow. I'm assuming the spoilers will come out like Sunday this time. Also don't have Twitter. Well, that is what it is. Yeah, I'm assuming the spoilers will come out like, I don't know. I don't know when they'll come out. They'll come out eventually. Right. We'll have to see. Monday morning. They might come out Sunday, no? I heard they come out Sunday sometimes. If it's Monday morning, it's not so bad because that's just a day. I can last a day. It's just when they came out on Friday, that was rough, dude. That was really rough when they came out on Friday. I did not like that. I was actually stressing. I almost got tempted, and I held out. I held the fuck out. I was so tempted last week. So tempted. Ever since Bacon, do not come to me. Bacon, do not ever come to me and tell me you read the spoilers and you can't talk. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. I will revoke your fucking status, dude. Don't ever do that again. Cause that shit got under my skin. I wanted to know really badly. Okay? I really want to know what this is. Understand? Right? So I need you to not do that ever. Okay? I need you to just not do that shit ever. For anyone watching, please do not give me spoilers. I don't care how bad or good it is. I don't care. Don't give me spoilers. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I'm overreacting a little, right? I know you didn't mean to. I know many people don't mean to. But I have to set the record straight, and I got to be very firm about this, right? Because I don't want people to misunderstand, okay? I really don't want people to misunderstand, okay? I want to set the record very clear, okay? Please do not bring me spoilers. I hate the Friday spoilers. That one sucked. Normally, even on Mondays as a holiday, it was just not usually Saturday. I don't know why it came out Friday this week. Because it was a 3-day weekend holiday, right? Didn't Japan have like a 3-day weekend holiday or some shit, and that's why they came out so early? That's what I recall hearing. I heard something like that. So that's probably why. But yeah, just I was trying to tell you to stay away at the same time. Yeah, but that made it worse. Don't do that. I understand your intent. Don't trust me. I know what you mean, but just don't do that, please. Okay, it's rough. It's really rough when you do that. Okay, it's rough. I look. I really want to fucking know. Okay, I really want to know. I hate not knowing. One of my worst things is not knowing. I hate not knowing things. I hate being blind. It is so fucking frustrating. You don't understand how much I hate not knowing things. Okay? That's just there. You learned something new about me. You learned something new about me. You don't understand how much I hate not knowing things. Okay? That's one of them. If I go radio silent, it'll make things worse. No, it won't. You're always radio silent. You don't talk to me for a week. I can't believe you don't recognize that. You literally don't talk to me as much as you think you do. You actually do not talk to me nearly as much as you think you do. If it's radio silent, it's okay. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Twitter blows up, right? I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Reddit blows up or if Twitter blows up. That'll be an indicator for me, right? That'll be an indicator for me, right? Like, I just, I need you to not do it. I need you to not do it. It's Silver Day or Elder Day or something. I don't know. Yeah. I know Twitter's going to blow up. I know Reddit is going to blow up. Something is going to blow up. It always does. It literally always blows up. That's just going to be a given. That's why I was surprised when nothing happened this week. That's why I was genuinely surprised when nothing happened this week. Right? And if it ends up being a kiss, it's like, it's a kiss, so whatever. Right? Umei kissed her. So what? Mommy kissed him. Ruka kissed him. So what? Right? If it does end up being a kiss, if Umei did kiss her, so what? So fucking what? Right? Mommy has kissed Kazuya. Ruka has kissed Kazuya. Minnie was literally on top of Kazuya's back the whole fucking time. Deal with it. Right? That's my stance. That's my stance. I'm like, yeah, at first it'll bother me, but I'm like, it's a fucking kiss. Maybe Reiji was overreacting. Could be. Maybe Reiji was overreacting. That's totally possible. That's completely possible. Right? Right? That's completely possible. Reiji could just completely be overreacting. And again, I genuinely think, even if it's a kiss, so fucking what? Chizuru doesn't love Umei. So fucking what? Right? The only thing that would make me question it is, why would Chizuru interact with him after he did that? Right? That would be the only thing that I would question out of that entire scenario. That would be the weird thing of that scenario. It's like, okay, Umei kissed her. Fuck off, man. Yeah, shitty move. Absolute dick move. Right? But then why would Chizuru keep interacting with him? That would be the worst part. I feel like she would be a lot more bothered by that, right? Especially if he kissed her without consent. I feel like that would be pretty shitty, right? But then maybe that's why, maybe he apologized after or something, right? And then Chizuru's like, hey, so you know how you did that to me? Yeah, he says, so I just did that to Kazuya. That'd be kind of funny, but in a really weird fucks up way. This is a crime, kissing without consent. I know it is. I know it is. Well, it's like, yeah, it is. It is. With Ruka, it's a little more innocent. I think with Ruka, it's a little more innocent. It's like, the Ruka kissing Kazuya isn't so bad. It kind of wobbles the line. Mommy, not so much. Mommy was like more shitty. Mommy was like really shitty. Umei, I feel like Chizuru would fucking hate him if he did that. Right? Chizuru would probably fucking hate him if he did that. So I don't know. There's one time where I thought of making up spoilers and telling you, but I'd probably completely block me for that stunt. I obviously didn't do it. Yeah, I would have been a little upset. Just a wee bit. Just a little bit mad. I always had a nagging feeling Umei was Chizuru's ex. I hope I'm wrong. It doesn't make sense, though. It doesn't make sense, though. Think about it. No, it literally doesn't make sense, though. Chizuru doesn't date. Literally, literally, what did Sayuri tell her? If you don't feel like you're in love, if you know your answer to this person, then don't fucking date them. Let them find someone else. Move on with your life, right? If you know, don't fucking do it, right? And I doubt Chizuru and Umei have actually dated. That doesn't feel right. Like the way they interact, the way they're friends, right? It doesn't make sense. It feels very counter to Chizuru's character. And also Chizuru literally says, "I've never felt this feeling before" when she talks to Kazuya. Right? The whole point of Chizuru's character is that she's dated a lot of guys. Dated, right? Because she does rental, right? But in reality, in some ways, Kazuya actually technically has more experience than her because he's actually dated someone and actually liked people and actually got rejected, right? Chizuru has been the one rejecting people. Kazuya actually got rejected a lot. Like he stole a kiss in the tiger's den and she kicked his ass and he apologized. It just feels weird. Right? It just doesn't feel right. Like, why would you fucking do that if you know she likes the dude? Right? It doesn't add up. You see how it doesn't add up? It just feels weird. It's like a thing that doesn't make any fucking sense. Right? Why would he do that if he knows she likes Kazuya? Right? And I feel like Chizuru would be a lot more bothered by him seemingly doing that. Right? I feel like Chizuru would be a little bit more bothered by that. That would kind of bug her a little more. Again, this is a crime. Stop saying nonsense. Okay, it doesn't mean he won't do it. Yeah, have you seen any other anime? People steal kisses all the time. It doesn't make it right, but people do it. Doesn't fucking make it right, but people do it. Mommy does it. Nothing fucking happened to her. Right? Because she's a girl. She gets to get away with it. Right? With Ruka, it's a little more complicated. With Ruka, it's like more of a middle line. Okay. Look at us dooming in the middle of the night. Right? Look at us. All together. Dooming in the middle of the night. Ain't it great? Okay, I really should end this stream. I gotta go check some stuff out. I'll see you guys later. Rachel really has us by the neck, right? If he stole a kiss at the tiger's den, I don't think Chizuru will come home to him or her home. Yeah. I think Chizuru would fucking hate him. It makes no sense. If Umei actually did that, Chizuru would fucking hate him. It makes no sense. Right? So that's why I just don't think that ever happened. It just makes no sense at all. Right? Anyways. I'll let it go. I'll see you guys another time. Bye-bye. What's that emote? I don't know what that means. Anyhow. See you guys later. Have a good day. Night. Wherever you are. Bye-bye.